All right, everybody, hold on a second. Let me get back to me. All right, what's going on, Big Witch, Shea Butter Feminist, Q King, Wolf Clan, what's going on? I hope everybody can hear me. I hope this time I did it right and turned my audio on. All right, y'all. I wanted to gather everybody here today because I want to talk about a video that I stumbled across. It was a YouTube creator by the name of 1MT, and he had a live stream probably about a week ago. You can check it out. I did post it in my community tab. And that live stream was packed full of gems. And I'm sorry, I'm sitting up here looking like Oprah in my glasses here. But I can't see a lot without them, so I need these right now. But I wanted to talk about a particular instance in his live stream where he was interviewing a number of people. He had about 6 people on the panel. Hi, ECOP. Hi, Alice. I'm Allison in Wonderland. He had about 6 people on that panel. And one of the ladies that he had on the panel in particular, I want to highlight because she is a non-Black woman. And she's talking about her experience with her people in her country, with American men who go over to her country looking for non-Black submissive women. And she's essentially saying that when American Black men come to her country and they're wanting submission, they're telling the women that they are providers, they have all this money, yada, yada, yada. And this is what I have been suspecting for the longest. I've been suspecting that these guys go over to these other countries, flexing, flossing, you know, posing like they got all this money. And they really don't, you know. And so she's saying that the women there, you know, culturally, the way that they're brought up to be submissive women to men who provide. And she said that the men in their culture are brought up to provide for the women. So when they are looking for husbands, they're looking for husbands who are going to provide, and therefore they give them submission in exchange for this provision. But what these women are finding out, and this is according to this lady, this African woman, she is saying the women in her country are finding that the American men want all this submission. They want everything, but they do not provide leadership, nor do they provide, period. And this is coming from a non-Black woman, someone who isn't from this country is saying this. And so, you know, all this time you have all these Black men talking about how they're going to leave American Black women. We're no good. We're trash, right? We don't know how to submit. We don't know how to do a lot of things. But apparently, according to this non-American African woman, American Black men don't know how to provide. So the very thing that they're asking for, they don't even know what to do with it. That is the whole cusp of the matter. Hello, Chef Disaster. Hello, ECOP. Okay, so what I want to take this moment to do, thank you, Chef Disaster. I do try. what I want to take this moment to do, I just want to share a brief clip from that live stream, because I want you to hear it in the young lady's words herself. I don't want you guys to take my word for it, because see, when the Faith says this, you know, I'm old, I'm ugly, you know, I get a whole lot of pushback when I say it, okay? But perhaps when a younger non-Black woman says it, maybe it will hit differently, right? So let me go ahead and real quickly share my screen. And if I did not say hello to everybody when you first walked in, you know, please forgive me. I like to just jump into the meat of what I'm talking about here before I just rush into anything. But this particular live stream that I'm getting ready to illustrate to you, it has a lot of gems in it. And I'm going to touch upon each and every one. I know that I'm probably not going to be able to monetize this live stream because I'm using feed from someone else's video. Oh, good afternoon, Third Ward Colombian, just in time. All right, so now while I'm sitting up here looking like Oprah, let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys real quickly here. One second. All right, so we're going to share. I'm not going to be able to look at your comments unless perhaps maybe if I bring it up on my phone here. But let me see if I'm able to. Okay, you know what I want to do? I'm going to stop the screen share. I'm going to share it differently here. Let me see if I can do it a different way. Hey, Miss Gigi. All right, let me do this. One second. I'm just going to share. Okay, here we go. So now I'm probably not going to be able to see the comments. I don't know if you guys can see me. Let me see if I can pull this up on my phone, because I want to be able to still see you guys' comments. So I'm going to bring it up on my phone real quick. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. All right, I'm getting feedback, so I'm going to just turn down my volume here. All right, so it looks like I do have the comments down here. Great. Hello, Koja Malik. I'm going to go ahead and play the portion of the video where she's talking about her experience with African-American men in her country, and how when the African-American men go to her country, they tell the women basically that they have all this money, they're providers, the American women are trash, blah, blah, blah. But they're finding that the American Black men do not know what to do with the submissive women in her country. They want the submission, but they do not want to provide, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and start the replay. Let me know if you guys are having any problem hearing the audio. Put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Like, they keep seeing their cousins, their uncles, whoever, collectively, generation after generation, not love the Black woman. So where would they get the concept to now want to go get a Black woman themselves? Like, she has her cousin, she has her uncle, she's seeing, or they're seeing all of these people go and pick someone else. Like, and I don't even think it's just a Black community thing, because if you try to go to other countries and you want to go and pick some of these Black women, like, I feel like the men that go and pick the Black women from other countries are just women that aren't even Black. If you want to go to Africa, you want to go to Asia, you want to go to whatever, those women are brought up completely different. Like, they have a completely different cultural standpoint, and that's why they're a little bit more submissive. Like, but see, here's the thing. I'm African and I have an African background, so I was brought up to be that submissive woman, but that submissive woman is not applicable in America, because the way that I was brought up, you know, you're supposed to be a mother, you're supposed to take care of your house, you're supposed to cook, you're supposed to clean, all the things that y'all say you're looking for essentially, But to go and present that to the American man, like you don't want it, you don't know what to do with it. Like,
I've been living overseas for 10 years. I know exactly what to do with it.
But I'm saying overseas, it's applicable there because overseas they're raising their children and their daughters to go and be these wholesome women because the men will come and actually provide. Those men do not provide here in America.
Yeah, that's
like you can't go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's the foundation of my channel is to provide that information to brothers to come overseas and explore your options.
But it's not. But the issue is ability to fully provide because you cannot come and present yourself to someone else's home without having the accolades to say, "Hey,
I know.
But they don't have that concept here in America. You can knock somebody up and leave them and never see them again. You can't do that in somebody else's country. They will come and find you. Like you will now take this person and you have to take care of this child.
And in America, they'll find you too. It's called child support. It's called child support, man.
Like that's like
you just heard that future.
Like that's not happening.
Like you're saying that's called child support. That's not the case. There are men that have been able to run from that as well.
Right.
Absolutely. But it's not the norm.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it right there because they're going to launch into a whole discussion about child support. But I wanted to highlight what the young lady Nancy said, and let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen and go back. Okay, so I wanted to highlight what the young lady Nancy just pointed out because she's saying, hey, I am a representative of a non-American Black woman, and in my culture, they raise the women to be submissive, but when Black men come over to our culture, they don't know what to do with it. They don't provide. This is what she's saying. So now you guys can sit up here and try to gaslight past what this young lady is saying. But this is a non-American Black woman who has experience with dealing with American Black men. And she is having the same she's pretty much having the same argument that American Black women are having about our own men. Our men are not providing for us. You guys are not providing the type of environment where women can exercise their femininity. And this is coming from, once again, a non-Black woman. Non-Black. So, I just wanted to know, what do you guys think about that? What are you guys saying? Hey, Joe, what's going on? Ricky B, what are you talking about? He says 20 years into his career already working for himself. My son is no Dusty. He makes sure his girlfriend is good, not just with sex. He spends on her. Okay, well, that's good, Ricky B, for your son. But this woman is talking about Black American men collectively. She is saying collectively, Black American men go to these other countries and they put out here that they are these great providers, but the women in her country are complaining that that is not what they're getting. They're not getting these providers. She is saying that the women in her country are complaining that you guys come over there and you want all the submission, but you're not doing what you say you're supposed to be doing. You're not delivering what you're promising when you're going over to those other countries. So now wherever you go, there you are, right? So now you're over here in America and the women are tired of you. You're not, providing, you're leaving your families behind and you want submission. So you can't get the submission that you want here because you're not creating the environment where women can submit to you. So then you go overseas and then you tell these women that all these bad Black women, they're terrible, they don't want to submit. But now the women overseas are complaining that you all are not leading. You're not providing. So they don't want to submit to you either. And I'll go further down into the video when she double downs on the point. I can do this all day if you want me to. I really could. But she double downs on it. So, this isn't American Black women saying this anymore. Now, wherever you go, there you guys are. And I've been saying this for the longest, but now it's beginning to manifest itself. Because first you had a non-ADOS man go on O'Shea's channel, and he pretty much said the same thing, that you all are bringing the pump and dump culture over to his country. I believe he's a Puerto Rican or a Mexican or something like that. Now you have this African woman, and she's basically saying the same thing that the man said on O'Shea's channel. You guys are bringing your pump and dump rhetoric over there. You guys are over there lying. You guys are over there not providing. So, you know, we need to figure out, you know, what's going on, because everybody can't be lying, right? Everybody can't be lying on you. And I'm also, you know, I'm not going to be stingy about this, because anybody that wants to tell me why they think that this is, you think she's lying, tell me why you think she's lying. I'll throw the link out there. I'm even going to throw the link out there. But yeah, you know, Black women have been saying this, and now non-Black women are saying this. And Just Chilling is not just, this was a Black man on, this was a non-Black man on O'Shea's channel. Okay, so it wasn't O'Shea that said it. It was one of his guests who is a non-Black man from another country. Okay, just like on MT1 channel, this lady Nancy is a non-Black woman from another country. Okay, so these are people who are not from the United States, and they're telling us about their experiences with dating our men. Okay, about what our men are doing when they're going over there. So, you know, once again, wherever you go, there you are. Princess Leah says, you cannot expect submission without provision. Exactly. 92% of mixed kids with Black fathers are raised by single mothers. So clearly, this dusty dynamic is following them into their interracial relationships. Exactly. So now, you know, there is no more excuses that can be made, right? There's no more excuses that can be made anymore. Because now, you know, you guys try to silence Black American women by telling us that we're just no good. You know, we just don't know how to be good wives and mothers. That this is what you guys have been telling us. You know, it's us. It's only the Black American women. Now, I will, you know, say that we should all take responsibility for our part in the reason why, you know, we're suffering so much in this country, right? Everybody needs to take responsibility. But what I'm not seeing from Black men, what I'm not seeing is, I don't really see Black men wanting to take any responsibility for the aftermath of what they leave behind when they're not there to help raise their children. I'm not seeing Black men take responsibility for helping to create fatherless homes in the community. I don't see them taking any responsibility for that. As a matter of fact, I want all of you to go to my community tab, because I did post a link to this live stream in my community tab. I don't want to play the whole video because it is MT1's live stream, but I just wanted to play that one part where Nancy was breaking it down, and she was telling you guys from her perspective what non-Black women are going through with American Black men going over into their country. So, you know, like I said, wherever you guys go, there you are. You know, you can't sit up here and say, oh, wow, you know, Black women, you guys are, you know, you're no good. We're just going to throw the whole women away. Black women are trash. Well, according to non-American Black women, Black men are trash in their countries because they're used to a certain type of men, right? In their countries, it's just basically cut and dry. The men are raised to pretty much know that they're supposed to be the leaders and the providers for their women. That's how the men are raised, period, point blank. And that is my experience when I deal with non-American Black men, the Nigerians and the Haitians, and the different non-American Black men that I've dealt with, they've been a little bit more masculine. I'm just going to be honest. They have been very masculine. Like I'm dating a guy right now. Well, I'm not dating, but I'm talking to a guy right now from Celine DeLeon. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name of his country. He's been trying to work with me on pronouncing the name of that country. I think it's Celine DeLeon or Darion, or I don't know. I got to get this together before the next time me and him get together, though. But he's very masculine. He's very take charge. When we go out, he pays for everything. He wants to make sure that I'm having a good time. He compliments me, makes me feel feminine. And in his presence, I do feel myself, becoming softer and more feminine and more giving, as far as, like wanting to, be nice to him. So Sierra Leone, thank you, Keith Classic. I'm going to practice that. So the next time he comes around, I can get it right. Yeah, because that is a sore spot. That's the only sore spot with me and him. Good afternoon what is this? In Cremature. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. You guys with these weird screen names. Craig Hopper says, so Black dudes don't do none of that. I'm not saying that, Craig, okay, because I have had some really good Black men in my life too. So I'm not saying that you guys are not masculine. There are masculine Black men, but for the most part, you have to go through so many who aren't masculine before you get to the ones that are. And I'm just gonna put it out there. Majority of the foreign men that I meet, they just come already equipped with that masculinity. They come already equipped with that. Now, there are a few fuck boys in their circles too, but you don't run across it as much. Like here in this country, there's just too much fuck boyism going on. And it's not just Pookie and Ray Ray. I think Pookie and Ray Ray is getting the short end of the stick here because there are a lot of so-called very, very well-to-do, educated Black men that fall into the fuck boy category. And is being blamed on Pookie and Ray Ray, but that's not the case. A lot of these guys that got money, that have the means to travel, they're even going across seas with this here fuckboy behavior. The behavior that tells them that they're entitled and they don't have to take care of women. And women across the nation are just not going for that. There's no woman that wants to submit to a man that thinks that he's entitled to have her body without any provisions, without providing for her. It's messed up. You guys are just kind of cooked all over the United States, and it's nothing that Black women have done to you. Black haven't done this to you. You've done this to yourselves. Let's see what Coogent says. Good evening. I will say this: both Black men and women need to get in their role. I agree. We do. And I'm not saying that Black women, that we, are the best women out here, but you're right. We do both need to take responsibility because in other countries where women are being raised to be submissive, raised to be wives and mothers, like Nancy said, here in the United States, Black women, we are not raised that way. We're raised to think completely different, completely Americanized, completely entitled. So there's a lot of entitlement on both sides. But, it's just that there's one particular gender that's kind of banging down hard on the other gender. And right now, that would be Black men. You guys are sitting up here really banging down hard on Black women, coming down on us, talking about what we're not doing. But lo and behold, here are foreign women and foreign men, no less, both the foreign men and foreign women, complaining about the behavior of American Black men when you guys go over to their countries. So it is an issue. It's a problem. It reflects poorly on everybody. Let's see. Miss J says we value pimping more than anything else. So that's why we have the dynamic in our relationships. Yes. And you know what? That is true, because when it comes down to it, we always point to the pimp hoe relationship as the model for how we should be treating each other. And that's bullshit. You know, I get so sick and tired of black men referring to black women as hoes, pimps up, hoe down mentality. You know, that whole I'm a man, I have a penis, and I'm entitled mentality. You know, that is something that is garbage in our community. If you want to sit up here and talk about what's garbage, what's trash, that's the mentality that's garbage and that's trash. The fact that black men do not value marriage, they don't value family. You know, you guys only value your ability to conquer women. You know, how many notches on your belt. That's all you guys uphold each other for. But you don't uphold each other when you see your brother go and find a wife and get married and have a family and settle down and provide for them and take care of them. You call him a simp. You know, this is what you do. And right now, we even have a male YouTuber selling pump and dump t-shirts. You know, the pump and dump culture is a money-making machine now. So, you know, that's a real problem. Mr. Marion Man says, Faith, you're a new woman as of late, and I'm digging this transformation. So I've been wanting to chop it up with you for the longest time. Are you opening the panel for discussion? I got insight. Oh, wait a minute. I remember you. Oh, yeah, I remember you. Yeah, nah, I don't think so. All right, Rashad Reed says, Black women are combative, independent, and entitled with no plans to improve their circumstances beyond selling the #1 asset in Black America, which is your sex and exoticness within other communities. Really, Rashad, this is what you feel about Black women? Okay, well, so when you guys go overseas, okay, and you are all making your little videos about the women overseas, you got videos of the women walking around in bikinis and thongs, okay? You got men with multiple women in hotel rooms, okay? Are those women upstanding women, or are they prostitutes? You know, come on now, guys. You know, you sell your own women short at every rip. You really do. And I really think that we need to stop selling each other short, because it is counterproductive to our culture. You see what's going on here in the United States right now. And I don't think anybody is digging us as a group. I just did the video yesterday that pretty much highlighted that Black men are not even #2 on any other race of women list in this country. You guys come in last place with most women in this country, or 3rd place, whereas most other races of women prefer their own or white men. So all of this whole thing about Black women being the least desired is also the same with you guys. You are also the least desired in this country. And to be honest with you, the only women that do really want you like that are your own women who you've been shitting on this whole time. We uphold you, even though you have not upheld us. And it is getting very apparent to everybody. Everybody all over the world sees it. So you're not making Black women look bad when you go to other places and then you start acting the very same way that you act here. They're starting to complain about you. And I'm not talking about anyone as an individual, because I know that there are outliers. You all have your individual stories to tell, but collectively, when you guys go over there, this is what the women are saying. They're saying that Black American men cannot be relied on as providers. Now those women are saying that. Oh, look at this. I don't know enough about this system to be making commentary about it. That is the reason why I use audio from a young lady who is from the actual country, so that you guys could get it from the horse's mouth. Because once again, when Black women speak on these things, you all gaslight us. So, you know, thank you for, you know, proving my point once again. Miss J says, Black women, like all women, return the energy that the community provides. Exactly. I say we have to leave the culture and we will definitely improve. Oh, I see Deity is hanging out here in the background. Hold on, sister. Let me bring you on.
Hey.
Hello. Welcome, Deity.
How are you this beautiful Sunday afternoon?
Girl, I am just hanging in. I'm hanging in and holding on. Did you get a chance to see the replay of the African woman and what she had to say about Black men going into their country?
No, but I know how women from overseas actually feel about Black American men. I know how Black American men who tend to do that. I know the reasons why they do it, and it's usually coming from a place of insecurity.
I agree. Now, this is one thing that she did say, and I will replay it again if you guys wish to hear it again, because like I said, this young lady, she isn't lying to us. You know, I'm getting it straight out of the horse's mouth. I'm not sitting up here. This is not Faith saying, oh, you know, this is what I feel. This is coming from the actual woman, the actual women in that country, and she is a representative of non-ADOS. So let me go ahead and bring that back up for Deity and the rest of you guys that did not get a chance to see it. Let's see here.
To now want to go get a Black woman themselves. Like, she has her cousin, she has her uncle, she's seeing, or they're seeing all of these people go and pick someone else. Like, and I don't even think it's just a Black community thing, because if you try to go to other countries and you want to go and pick some of these Black women, like, I feel like the men that go and pick the Black women from other countries are just women that aren't even Black. If you want to go to Africa, you want to go to Asia, you want to go to whatever, those women are brought up completely different. Like, they have a completely different cultural standpoint, and that's why they're a little bit more submissive. Like,
that's what we want.
But see, here's the thing. I'm African and I have an African background. So I was brought up to be that submissive woman, but that submissive woman is not applicable in America, because the way that I was brought up, you know, you're supposed to be a mother, you're supposed to take care of your house, you're supposed to cook, you're supposed to clean, all the things that y'all say you're looking for essentially. But to go and present that to the American man, like, y'all don't even, you don't want it, you don't know what to do with it. Like,
I've been living overseas for 10 years. I know exactly what to do with it.
But I'm saying overseas, it's applicable there, because overseas they're raising their children and their daughters to go and be these wholesome women, because the men will come and actually provide. Those men do not provide here in America.
Yeah, that's
like, you can't go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's what
okay, and I'm gonna stop it right there. Now, did you hear her when she said that the men in her country provide? She said those men do not provide here in America. She said that clearly. So for anybody out there still saying that Faith don't know what she's talking about, Faith ain't got no business saying anything on it, I'm not saying this. This is a non-ADOS woman saying this. But go ahead.
Absolutely. And I also want to say that Black American men that wants to deal with women that are not, they usually want to deal with women that are not aware of or understanding of their shortcomings as men in the US. So they tend to deal with women that don't understand their culture, because it gives them the opportunity to portray a false illusion of power and masculinity. I mean, because let's be very honest, essentially the white man runs America, and many Black men, not all, but many Black men have become overcome by the systematic oppressions in the US, whether it be financially, he ain't got no money, or mentally, he hates being Black. And so instead of fighting the beast, he goes at women, Black women, the women of his race, because she is usually a reflection of what he is lacking. They can't protect us. So therefore, they complain about these very same Black women using the system or being uplifted in a system in which he is not uplifted in comparison to the Black woman. So he starts to compare himself to his female. He starts to compete with his female, almost like he's competing for white daddy's attention, and that's not a man. You know what I'm saying? So it gives these men who have become castrated and buck broken the opportunity to flex and to feel like a man by just saying he's American to these foreign women, you know, and they're looking at America as this great place full of opportunities and wealth. And some of these women don't know, like the ones who are actually native to the country, not the Americanized ones, but some of those women might think that this black man is something, or he, you know, he got some money. But it's unfortunate. Now, this is not all black men. This is a disclaimer. This is not all black men.
Exactly. Because like I said, I was raised by a good black man, and I know a lot that there are good black men, but collectively, our men are failing. And they're not just failing here in the United States. Evidently, they're failing all over the globe.
Right.
So it's embarrassing. You know, I don't take any joy in hearing this young woman say this about American black men, because it's a bad reflection on all of us. But black men don't get it. When other people from other countries have this bad things to say about us as a group, it's a bad reflection on the entire group. So I cannot, as a black woman, separate myself from the black man, because whatever affects the black man also affects me.
Exactly. And what affects you affects him. And so again, instead of him taking the responsibility as a man to recognize that he's been colonized, he's been captive, therefore the suffering that black women are going through is because he is not able to basically protect her, instead of facing that, he'll rather blame her because he can't do nothing about it. Instead of going, like I said, at the bigger powers that be, which is this white supremacist system, wanting to overthrow, wanting to dominate so that he can be the man in the black woman's life, he would rather blame the black woman and compete with her.
Now, Ronald says, but why don't black women support us without waiting for white supremacy to validate you supporting us?
I've never seen white supremacy telling black women to support black men. Give me an example of that so that I can answer that question intelligently, because I've never seen that.
Yeah, I haven't never seen it either. White supremacy doesn't want us supporting each other at all. As a matter of fact, they've done nothing but throw things out to divide and conquer us. So that doesn't make any sense, Ronald, at all.
At all. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a bad situation that we're in, but at the same time, there are very productive black men, and they are doing something for the black community. They are uplifting black women. They may be far and few in between, but they're out there. Absolutely.
But here's my thing, you know, as far as black men and making all of these demands, I see a lot of black men with a lot of demands on black women. But when are you guys going to demonstrate that you are worthy of what you are demanding? I don't see a whole lot of that. I don't see a lot of black male improvement going on here. Like black men, you sit up here and you say you want fit black women. But I see there more and more, a lot of you running around here looking like Teletubbies. Let's just be honest. Then you sit up here and say you want beauty. But there's a lot of you that don't even meet the European standard of beauty for men. Okay, since you guys want to waive that European standard of beauty, me, myself, I like the African standard of beauty. There's nothing better to me than a black man. I don't have any problems with black features. But it's black men that have these problems with black features and dark skin.
Yeah.
So everything that you are demanding of black women, you want us to be more natural and love ourselves. But when are you guys going to love yourselves?
Yeah, and you know, Faith, I think when it comes to loving yourself as a black woman or a black man individually speaking, that has to start with self. It doesn't necessarily have to come from the men of your race, but unfortunately, a lot of women do need that validation from the men of their race. So it would definitely be more helpful if black men were accommodating to black women and black women's natural beauty.
Exactly. Now, NK Rumature says that because of the deep-seated cynicism, I won't speak to them and don't like white women as well. So for me, the field is super narrow for dating. And that's the same here. Black women feel the same way. I don't know if you saw the video I did, Deity, when I was going over that Hello Cupid study, the dating study. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it.
Well, black men are really terrible, I think, at reading statistics and study because they sit up here and they talk about how Black women are just the least desired, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you go back and you pull up that study and you look at the percentages, Asian women, they're last on the list with Asian women. Latino women, they're last on the list with Latino women. And with white women, they're like third on the list.
Mm. Wow.
That's what the study actually says.
Wow. And
And then
so what are they
Mhm.
saying? What are the Black men saying about Black women in the dating world in
Okay.
comparison to them?
Well, Black men, they actually, when you look at that study, the Hello Cupid study, Black
Mhm.
men don't even really want Black women like that.
That's
They-
not a surprise.
And on top of that, they actually prefer Latino women and Asian women even over Black women. They still prefer non-Black women over Black women, but they don't really want white women like that.
Now, let me ask you a question, Faith. Being that you are a Black, I don't know if you're single, but being that you are a Black woman that's aware of how Black men treat Black women, have you been a victim of that type of scrutiny from Black men? And if you have, how has that impacted your perception of Black men?
Oh, definitely. I've been a victim. I've been a victim of that. Well, not in real life. You know, most of this has been online, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Because, you know, in real life, when I meet Black men, they don't come at me talking about you too dark, your hair too nappy, you're ugly, I don't like your features. I don't get none of that in real life. Just online.
Oh, okay. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that the Black women who do get that type of negative feedback in person, online, wherever, do you think that those small minority or that small group of men will affect how they view Black men as a whole? Or do you think that it will make sense for them to just excuse the self-haters?
I think that we should overlook the self-haters. I think that the self-haters are a small minority.
Right. You know, but I actually think that it's a large minority. Unfortunately, I think that a lot of Black people really don't like Black features, and Black men happen to be a victim of that. And unfortunately, they perpetuate that hatred on the women of their racial group. And because women are more emotional in a natural sense, then, you know, they ingest that a lot more. And so that's the reason why you see the skin bleaching and all of these types of things. And, you know, it's unfortunate, but I just feel like women should deal with people who want to deal with them. That's how I honestly feel.
Exactly. And the thing about it is, this has been something, this isn't new, this is pretty old, but you're supposed to love those that love you.
Right.
But my whole thing is, I think you might be partially right, but I think that the self-hatred comes mostly from dark-skinned Black men in particular. Because I really don't see a lot of the mixed Black men or the, how can I say, the light-skinned Black men with as much of the self-hatred as the dark-skinned Black men. There's somebody else in here, SKC. Hold on, let me bring him in. I think I know who this is. Hello, SKC. How are you?
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much. So what do you have to add to this conversation?
Oh, no, I was just going through and I saw the recommendation come up. I said, man, what is this? This sounds interesting.
Let me ask you a question, SKC. Since you're a Black man, I don't know what your complexion is, but do you think that a lot of Black women's insecurity with how they look, do you think that it stems from Black men not viewing them as attractive, or do you think that's just something that they picked up from society or from themselves?
I think it comes from the latter. I think it comes from themselves.
Okay, and where do you think they get that from?
From their mothers and peers.
And where do you think their mothers and peers get that from?
From their own insecurities.
And where do you think those insecurities resonate from, or where do you think they actually come from?
I think those things come from them looking out at different groups of people all over the world, And I really think it comes from the place of when that huge movement of I'm strong, independent, don't need no man came in. And then when they started to see these other groups of women with men, I think that's where that idea came from.
Now, when you say that when they saw those other groups of women with men, was it with a particular race of men?
No, just in married, happy relationships.
But how would they know that they were married and happy? Where would they get that from?
Oh, they would see, husband and wives together, possibly
So just
with
at
their
the park,
children.
at McDonald's?
All around, different places.
Well, then that would mean that they would be in predominantly non-black spaces, right? And most
No.
of these women that are oftentimes complained about with this type of personality are usually in the hood, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, a lot of things that people buy, that people see on TV whenever they go
so the media,
travel,
right.
so forth.
Right. So, but a lot of black people aren't traveling. But go ahead.
And what they see when they go out into greater society. I mean, it could be something as simple as just going to the mall or something like that.
Well, that would be kind of flawed. That wouldn't really be real life, because you don't just see couples, every single day. Like, and then when you do see a man and a woman, you wouldn't know that that's a couple because they might not be hugged up. So that kind of that analogy, that point to me is skewed. But when you said the media, I can see how that can be effective on the psyche of black women and how they view their beauty. But now, let me ask you this: how does? Yeah, hold on. Let me say this. Go ahead.
I can give you some anecdotal evidence of that. Just going out to the grocery stores, I rarely see a lot of black women with their husbands or their significant other, but I do see other groups of women with their significant other.
So then that means that. But I mean, how would you know that that's their husband or significant other?
Because I'm just saying they're with a man.
And you said that it was anecdotal, so that means that it's not necessarily true or reliable. So therefore, what you're seeing is a perception. That doesn't mean it is reality. So what makes you think that these black women are perceiving these other races of women as having men?
Because they see them with men.
That doesn't necessarily, that could be their father, right? Or their uncle or their brother. But back to the media point. You said something about the media. You said that black women see other races of women in the media as married and so forth. But now I was talking about beauty. So when that's what we were talking about. So when black women say that they don't feel attractive, where does that come from? You said it comes from their mothers. I'm saying, where did their mothers get it from? You say from seeing other races of women married, but that has nothing to do with their physical or their phenotype, their physical attributes.
I think where we are having like a little cross at is the whole idea of having a man commit to you long term has a lot to do with how someone feels about themselves beauty wise. I mean, a lot of women do things to beautify themselves so that they can attract a man. Men do the same thing.
Right. But the beauty standard when you say that black women, so then let me ask you this. What do you think black women consider or deem as beautiful and or not beautiful when it comes to themselves?
I think they choose what they believe is beautiful for themselves, not for what men deem as beautiful.
Okay, so black women don't have that insecurity then. Okay.
Yeah, I think they choose. I think they choose, how they want to look to the world. They're not doing it specifically to gather the attention of.
So then that means that black women don't have. So that means that black women don't have insecurity. Then that means that your initial point is null and void, because if they're doing it for themselves as opposed to trying to do it to attract men, yet and still they're insecure because they see other races of women with men, then those two don't even go together.
Exactly.
No, actually it does, because they feel insecure amongst themselves because there's such a huge, some of the worst statements that come about Black female beauty actually comes from them amongst themselves.
Which you said earlier, and I asked you where you then went ahead and went to marriage and dating, and when I went back to the phenotype, you said that you didn't know that that's what we were talking about.
Well, to give
And
you to give you
then
an
you
example,
stated that their beauty is not for men, it's for themselves. So therefore,
right?
all of that is null and void what you're saying. And instead, what you're essentially saying is that Black women don't have insecurities at all.
No, their insecurity is amongst themselves.
You know, I can kind of agree with SKC on that last statement that he made, because I have experience where Black women, we do kind of ridicule each other a lot, as far as beauty is concerned. You know, it's not just with Black men, with the colorism and, the ridiculing and tearing down. I've had other Black girls when I was growing up and going to school talk about my nappy hair, talk about short hair, talk about dark skin. So he's kind of right on that particular point.
Well, no, we're gonna, as Black people, there's gonna always be this dissension between us, and the self-hate is there. And so therefore, if we see somebody who's reflective of what we deem as a negative, as a negative, we're going to pick on that. But what I'm saying is, where does it come from? Where does it stem from? It doesn't stem from Black women.
Well, deity.
That's the point. Go ahead.
Well, deity. Just as a,
because what he's doing is blaming it on the Black woman. But go ahead.
Maybe I'm wrong, Faith. Maybe you can correct me. But if I'm not mistaken, a lot of the things that have to do with looks, particularly hair and skin tone, and even skin texture and self-care and all of that stuff, Black women, their first interaction with negative things about all of that is from other Black women, even some of their own relatives. They hear that stuff from their mothers. Don't you? You got to do something with that old nappy hat, girl. You got to do this. And
right, but what I'm saying is, where does that self-hatred come from?
When these girls grow up, the first image that they see are from their mothers, and a lot of times their mothers are doing different things with their hair.
So you're saying that. So you're saying that Black women are born
like mama. Something went wrong with my hair.
So you're saying that Black women are born innately hating themselves. That's what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is that the first negative impulses that they get about themselves do
That's not the question. I said, but where does it come from altogether? That's the whole point. We've been going around a circle. Where does the entire aspect of hating Blackness come from?
I think it comes from the system of white supremacy, because
but he's not being honest. I know you want to answer for him, but he's not being. He's being disingenuous. He's not being honest. And that's the whole point. So if you're not going to be honest and you want to just go in circles until you really get to no point, but you think somebody gonna fall weak into, and just answer the question for you and then put it back on Black women, that's not gonna happen. The system of white supremacy creates the self-hatred. Since you don't want to answer the question, we go in circles. And then Black men also create that insecurity and doubt in Black women by choosing non-Black women.
I did answer.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Answer.
You didn't answer the question. As a matter of fact, every time you answer the question, it made your previous statement null and void. But go ahead.
Well, you stated, I guess you wanted to know where it began.
Go ahead.
And I answered that at the very beginning when I said, when such individuals took on the whole.
You never answered the question.
I'm strong, independent. I don't.
You never answered the question.
But then when they actually,
let me ask you this: do you think Black men suffer from self-hate?
Then that's where that began.
Okay, what do you think that Black men suffer from self-hate? Of their Blackness?
No, I really don't think so.
Okay, so then that goes back to my point where you were just trying to blame it on the Black woman, as though the Black woman inherently and innately hates her Blackness. And I get that Faith was trying to understand what you were saying because you weren't getting to a point. But see, SKC, you should already know how my mind works, and you can't run that flim-flam on me.
I'm not trying to run anything on you, dude.
And let me say this, I'm about to call you BMT. SKC, do you think that Black men prefer, by and large, not all, but do you think that Black men prefer non-Black women due to the phenotype or the attributes that non-Black women display?
I would have to ask you what generation, because as of right now, the majority
At
of
any
Black
generation,
men
at any generation.
well, the majority of Black men right now have proved by statistics that they choose Black women over.
Yeah, but I'm
all
saying
other
at any
races of
generation.
women.
Do you think that was at any generation? In any
Any
generation?
generation that what?
You asked me what generation when I asked you the question. So I'm asking you now, I'm telling you any generation. You can pick from any generation. Do you think
Well,
that had an
I
effect
believe
on Black men?
I believe that towards the millennial and generation
So then that
alpha,
goes and it dismisses what you said previously when you said that Black men don't have self-hate. You're stating that there was a specific generation of Black men who did. But let the next person talk.
I think
Yeah,
you're talking
let the
in
next person talk.
circles.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I
SKC,
stated
you're talking in
was
circles, but let the next person talk. Go ahead.
what I
Okay.
stated was is that
I'm
Black
sorry.
men. I wasn't saying that Black men have some type of self-hate.
That was the
but you say-
question. Next
but you-
person. You ain't going.
stated-
You're crazy. Next person.
You stated whether they chose different women or not, and that has nothing to do with
But
self-hate.
that was a part of the question. But that was the question, and you said what generation, and then you just specified. Next person.
A non-Black woman has nothing to do with self-hate.
That wasn't the question.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and move over to the next person. Miss J just entered the panel. Welcome, Miss J. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. What did you want to add to the conversation?
I was just saying both Black women and Black men live in this country and this culture. So if one thing affects one group, it's going to affect the other group.
Absolutely.
So the beauty standards that is shown in this country and basically around the globe is about white women. There's no way in hell that Black men are not going to be affected by that. Now, just because you choose to sleep with Black women, knock them up, and occasionally marry them, that doesn't mean you're not affected by it. So we just need to be honest about that. And there's a reason why Black women feel the way they do. It's basically because our phenotype is the exact opposite of what's exalted in the public.
Exactly.
So it didn't come, so Black women's feelings did not come from their mother and from, their aunts and their cousins or whatever. It's generational, and it's basically because of how the media and also society treats us. So obviously you're going to have a problem if you're being raised and everywhere you look, you never see yourself in a positive light.
Right. And in most of the self-hatred, and it is self-hatred, that comes from our sisters and our mothers and our aunts, because I have had that. It's mostly about us looking, how can I say, presentable when we go out into the public. Because our mothers, they used to, smooth our hair down with those hot combs and cut our boys' hair off, cut it all the way down, because they wanted you to look presentable. They did not perceive that the nappy hair was presentable in the eyes of white people. So they wanted you to
there were actual laws that Black women couldn't even be in public with their hair shown.
Yeah,
we had to have our hair actually covered.
And it's not even just. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And just as a question, Miss J and Faith. So if that was the case, why were more Black women married back in the day than today?
Okay, to be honest with you, if you want to look at but the thing about it, those people are not thinking correctly about this. Black people have been in America for over 400 years. For 80 of those years, we had a high marriage rate. Other than that, we did not have a high marriage rate. Black people do not have a long history of marriage. We don't.
Right, and marriage is going down across the board for all races anyway.
Globally, it's not just even America; it's around the globe. It's not a Black woman issue.
Can I answer his question? Really? I may not be the same age as you women, but I will say this. Black men have not always been able to date outside of their race either. So now that we're in a situation where Black men are able to date out and not get hung for it, they're doing that. Back in
Exactly.
the day,
As
black
soon
men
as
were
that
not
was
able to date outside their race.
right, and as soon as that law was removed, and basically saying, hey, across the board, you can go ahead and date whoever you want to, that skyrocketed. So this whole idea you're just with us because you love us, no, that's not the case. Sorry. And you can see by the way you're treated. So you can't play that kind of trick anymore. It's not going to work. We've heard the words coming from from the mouth of our men. We've heard it. So you can't come back and try to flip the script now. It's not going to work anymore. You can blame white people. You can blame, because back in the day it used to be like, it's not just us, it's the white man. They're trying to do the division and stuff. But we've seen y'all words. We've heard it. And it's been for a long time. As soon as social media came about and you were able to express your feelings freely, you let us know exactly what it's like. So now you can't flip the script because no one's providing it anymore. That's just how it is.
Interesting. So according to, I guess the consensus here is that Black men have a self-hatred, and that is what's destroying relationships between Black men and Black women.
That's a fraction of it. That's not entirely.
It's on both sides, but everybody wants to act like it's just Black women, and that's not the case.
Oh, so this self-hatred exists on both sides.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, so both groups hate themselves so much.
Yeah,
that
we hate the position that we're in. We're at the bottom of the totem pole. We hate it, and instead of going ahead and trying to do something to overcome it, we'd rather just hate on each other. And we just need to be honest about that.
Okay, so you're saying that instead of just having loving relationships, they rather just sit up and fight each other?
Why are you acting like you don't see that?
No, I'm just wondering.
I mean, I've seen you in black male spaces. I've seen you hear those conversations that they have. So let's not act like we don't know what we already know. You're not new to this situation. You know exactly what's going on. Every 2 months, there's a new almost swear word about black women. So this is not something new. This is not, people know what's going on.
Right. And the thing about it is, I think that it's kind of lopsided with black men, taking to social media and really just doing a hack job on black women. You guys have us out here, we're nothing but bad mothers. We're single moms. Evidently, we must be becoming single moms by ourselves, or we alone have the sole responsibility of making sure that there aren't single mothers in this race. We don't know how to be mothers. We're not attractive, according to a lot of you. Non-black women are more attractive. So this is the rhetoric that's been spewing around here, SKC, and you're right there in that sector. I see you. I think I met you on Bernard's panel.
Yeah.
So exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So where do you all see things going from here? Improving or continually to decrease?
And do you mean that in a general sense, or do you mean that specific to the individual? Because they're both valid questions.
We're talking about, Black society as a whole. Do you see it improving or going completely downhill?
Relationship wise, is going to go downhill.
Yeah,
because you're not going to get a positive outcome when all you show is negativity. Okay. And the negativity just keeps ratcheting up further and further and further. People out here wanting us to basically die in the streets or to come back and be submissive, and that's stupid.
Well, somebody's background is I think water seeps at its own level, so
it's a lot of feedback.
Whoever came in, mute your mic or do something with your background.
I think that water seeps at its own level. So if okay, so they're muted. So if you love yourself, you would naturally attract someone who loves themselves. You wouldn't deal with a man who doesn't really like his blackness. I mean, it would just be a natural coming together, so to speak. I personally have never dealt with that type of self-hatred or those types of black men that have made me feel insecure. I never dealt with that. I believe that it's due to a few reasons. But one of those reasons is I don't attract those types of men. So I don't really have that type of burden, but I do understand that it exists.
So if I could pose this question, why do you all feel as though, or why do you all think it's so difficult for Black women to find long-term stable relationships?
Let me ask you a question. Where do you get that it's difficult for Black women to find long-term stable relationships? And if you can answer that question, then maybe we could possibly better answer your question.
Sure, because the statistics show that they're the least married group in America.
What statistics?
The census.
Where do you get that census from?
The U.S. Census shows the data on marriage.
Okay, now let's say, for instance, that is true, but then again, that may not be true. That's the same U.S. Census that has reported a lot of negatives in regards to the Black community that has not been true.
And then also that the U.S. Census does not say that we're the least married, by the way. Actually, Black women marry more than Black men. And I
think that he was talking about in comparison to other races of women.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now, in comparison to other groups of women, yeah, we are the least married. You're right.
Because we're dealing with a culture that doesn't value marriage, so of course you're going to be the least married.
But we have Angela triggered on here. Angela, I'm going to unmute your mic. Let me see if you got it. Yeah, it's still. Angela, you still.
I think she needs to mute. She needs to mute her YouTube feed.
Also, marriage is usually a business. Like most people, marriage is into marriage for financial.
Close your YouTube window before you get on the stream. Whoever's doing that, close your YouTube stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. So most people
can only be on StreamYard.
Most people get into marriages for financial gain, and most Black people are not really financially equipped for marriage.
So how can you prove that?
How can I prove what in particular? That most Black people are not equipped, or that's the reason why they don't get married?
That most people get married for business reasons.
Well, it's the same census that you use. I mean, you can look it up. Most people get married for financial gain. It's usually
okay. So what census data would show that?
What census data would show what you just stated? What's the name of the actual census?
It would be the U.S. Census, and it would count marriage certificates.
Right, and so mine
that would be the data point.
Right, and so my data point would be the U.S. Census in regards to why people get married.
Right. So
I mean, the IRS and the government have whole laws done for that, tax purposes, so forth and so on. They have whole laws done for that, so it's not hard to.
But they have never polled. But they have never polled America with a question asking, "Why did you get married?"
That's not true. Yes, they have.
Okay.
And then even I mean, but look online, the same place where a person would look in regards to your question. But the thing is
it's
when
not you're at the same place. I have the data in front of me.
But the thing is that when you're talking about marriage and why people get married and polling America, you're not going to poll everybody that's in America. Okay, right. That's just the reality. Let me finish.
Right, you get polling data.
Regardless of what the question is, you're not going to get the answer from all of America. The reality is that most people get married for business purposes. Look it up. Don't ask me any further questions.
Substantiate that.
You're online, so look it up.
Substantiate that claim.
You're online, so look it up. I gave you the information. Now look it up. Now the thing is the reality is that Black people are not financially stable in most cases for marriage, and that's just the reality because marriage essentially is a business.
And I think it's sad that you look at it that way.
It is sad that people see it that way. I'm not married.
I am.
We can also see it in the divorce rates. Whenever the finances go down, divorce rates go skyrocket. Yeah, so if it wasn't, if it wasn't about money, if the money system, if the money situation went negative, why are you getting divorced?
No, it's
if you weren't getting together to improve your finances.
Okay, if you were getting together to improve your finances, then you
Pose the
wouldn't
next
get
question.
divorced.
Anybody got time to entertain these circular arguments? What's the next question, S. Casey?
That's a circular argument. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's another question I have for you, dear. Why do you believe that that do you believe some of the stereotypes that are coming out of Black men's lives when it comes to Black women?
Absolutely.
So you believe? Okay.
Absolutely.
But our whole
I
point
believe
is that
stereotypes, but I want you to specify exactly what stereotype so that I can specify which one I believe in. Go ahead.
How about being disrespectful and lending to be confrontational?
Yeah, I believe that.
Do you think that that is a good stereotype to have if you're seeking long-term relationships?
Well, the words in which you used were not positive attributes, so of course not. I mean, that in of itself is self-explanatory. But what's the next one? Do you want to know why I believe in it, or do you want to go on to the next stereotype?
Sure.
Which one? Sure, you want to know why, or you want to go on to the next stereotype?
The former.
So the reason why I don't think that it's necessarily a stereotype per se. I do believe that Black women altogether may get stereotyped that way, but I don't believe that that type of behavioral pattern is something that's distant or, non-realistic when it comes to an oppressed racial group of women. Black women have been extremely oppressed within this system, from finances to how they look to not having a man in this household due to white supremacy removing the man in the household in order for her to come up financially. So all of these different oppressions would make a Black woman angry. And if she's dealing with multiple different men who are also oppressed and maybe a single mother, then absolutely that might cause a bitter Black woman.
Okay, and then also I wanted to say, if there are any men down here that also have an opposing point of view, please join the stream. But I also want to welcome Ray from the Ray Awareness channel onto the panel. Hi, sister, how are you?
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, I just wanted to say quickly, I heard her say white supremacy destroyed the Black family. Is that what you said?
Who are you talking to?
You. I don't know your name. I just see a D. I'm sorry.
Okay. It's deity. Absolutely. That's what I said.
Okay. In what fashion?
Well, I don't know if you heard, but Black men, for one, are not financially equipped within this system, especially going back, are not financially equipped in this system to take care of Black women, which is the reason why Black women had to depend, and still to this day have to depend on the system, i.e. welfare and low-income housing to sustain themselves and their children, which means that man has to be removed from the household.
Well, so no, you don't think that that's men choosing? I think that that's Black men choosing to remove themselves.
Sure, no.
I don't think that has anything to do with white supremacy.
Yeah. No, but see, in low-income housing, can the man stay in a woman's house with Section 8?
Yes.
So that's now a law that's been passed that a man can stay in the woman's house.
There was never any law saying that a man could. What they always done was based it on income. It was always by your income, whether you had a man with you or not. People found a way to get over by, not getting married, and that's kind of what happened.
So at what point,
nobody.
Yeah. So where did the ideology that a man could not stay in the home when a woman had Section 8, a man could not be there? Where did that ideology come from?
People were lying to justify their behavior.
Income would have had to be reported.
Yeah, I believe that
it's not that he couldn't be there. It was that the income would have had to be reported,
right?
And it would take away from the benefits that were going into their household. So, I mean, they structured it that way. If you want to say they were racist in the way that they structured it, where you couldn't just be honest, I would go for that more than just kind of saying white supremacy destroyed the Black family, because that's a choice to say, okay, we're not going to get married, but, we'll just, get by this way. It's a shame that so many Black families have had to get by that way. But I just wanted to say that. And I just quickly, and then I'm gonna get off. I just wanted to say that is not true. Black men did perpetuate the stereotypes about Black women's hair, and I'm gonna give you two examples. More hair, more extensions than AT&T, which they perpetuated. And what's that little hair? You must know karate because your face look chopped with your weave in the head like the mop. Those are two very famous statements from Black men that they perpetuated. So I'm gonna get off the mic and I'm gonna keep listening because I kind of came in late.
I have a question for you. I have a question for you because what you're stating is something I've never heard before. So a man can stay in the Section 8 home with the woman, is what you're saying?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's always been the case.
You just have to report the income. And even in most cases, President Trump and Ben Carson are looking to relax that law. And in most cases, they don't really bother you. It's like if somebody reported you or something like that, they're not really going to your house to see.
Hold
So-
on, Deity and Ms. J. Now that isn't all the way true because there was a rule called the Man and House Rule. And thank you, SKC, for sending me this link. It says, under the Man and House Rule, a child who otherwise qualified for welfare benefits was denied those benefits if the child's mother was living with or having relations with any single or married able-bodied male. The man was considered a substitute father, even if the man was not supporting the child.
Right.
Well,
They
then
have
two
to have-
questions.
they-
One, why would
No,
you
I'm
be
saying-
with a man that's not gonna and basically that's saying that's kind of supporting what I'm saying, like based on the income of the man you brought in. They would decrease the
Right,
they
and
would
that goes
decrease
back
the
to what
benefit. I don't know where that came from, but I live in New York and I'm going from what I know from the past that it was done
You're talking about
to
one
have
area.
more. Yeah, I'm talking about New York, and I'm quite sure I can
Oh,
prove it was in
okay.
other areas too, because a lot of times that's what it was. Even when Black men went off into the military or whatever, they didn't they weren't able to get married or whatever like that. So they just vanished from their responsibilities. Like they didn't send money back because they weren't married, so they couldn't send. They didn't find a way to send that money back to their children. A lot of Black men suffered under that. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying that white supremacy doesn't exist, but I'm saying we do have to be accountable for some of the things that we've done.
Absolutely, Queen. So check this out, right? So even if in case the income, let's say for instance, men could be in the house, right? But you're also stating that income is an issue, but who controls the job system?
Jewish people mostly.
And what race are they, essentially?
Caucasian.
Right, okay. Yeah, so white supremacy.
But how did they do it? How did they do it though? They didn't have any tool that we didn't have.
It doesn't matter.
People don't like Jay-Z, but he told you they did it through credit. They were poor and impoverished. They decided to stick together and purchase stuff. And that's what they did. And we have to go back to that because we used to do that. Black people own several businesses all over every state. And we have to get back to that. We let these people price us out, and now it's time to get back in.
Well, we could get into that. Yeah, we could get into that historical point, but we're talking about the actuality. So it's still white supremacy, however you want to look at it. But what's the next question?
I don't think white people are supreme. That's only if you think white people are supreme over you.
We live in a white
that you believe in white supremacy. I don't live in that.
Well, then
I don't view a white person as supreme over me.
So that means you don't pay your bills. That means you don't follow their laws. So you must be living off the grid somewhere. You're not in America. And if that's the case, tell me where you at so I can join you.
I can't tell you how to get there mentally. That's someplace you're gonna have to come to on your own. But I don't
still have to follow the laws of the land.
Way of thinking.
And the land is controlled by the white man.
Well, then when you gonna stop letting him control? If you feel like that, when you gonna stop letting him control you? When you gonna stop? Because y'all have so many conversations over and over again about the white man this and the white man that. Well, what are you doing? Nobody has a plan. I come on here and I actually give people solutions for things they could do. And y'all ostracize people like me.
Nah, Queen.
Right? Because I'm just gonna give you the truth.
I feel you, but see,
so y'all can focus on the white man and the white supremacy. Y'all there all day. Come out of white supremacy land and let's build. That's what I'm saying. No disrespect. I'm gonna mute my mic.
No, I feel you, Queen, and there's no disrespect, and I appreciate your passion because I too am very passionate. But the reality is that in order for you to fight against the system, you cannot turn a blind eye to it, nor can you be dismissive of it because you then fall victim to it. You have to understand that it's there, recognize that it's there, and know how to work around it to get out of it. Or know how to work within it to once survive, and then how to get out of it. In order to beat something, you must study it and understand it. And if you want to be dismissive towards it, then you are just as ignorant as the people that you're so-called talking about. White supremacy exists within this system. Now, genetically, they may not be supreme, but you cannot deny the fact that it exists. Otherwise, you are no more than a detriment than the people that you claim to be trying to go against, which I somewhat understand. You don't want people to keep talking about the white man, but you have to understand that your enemy is here, just like they understand that you're here and you're their enemy. So they plot and talk about how they can kill your ass and get away with it. This is something that Black people need to address.
And what do Black people do? If
In
you
regards
know
to
all
what?
of these white people are sitting down, plotting, trying to kill you, destroy you, make you gay, do all these things to you, what the hell are we doing then? What are we doing? Why are we even talking? We should be on the streets right now, going in.
We
We
should
should not be sitting here right now.
Absolutely.
We should not be. So what I'm trying to say is that we make choices. We make choices.
We have to, first and foremost, you have to organize. Your mind got to be right before you put yourself out anywhere.
If somebody's
You
trying
have
to
to
kill me, that's
understand
all the information that I
your
need
enemy. You
is
have
that
to
you trying to kill me.
study your
So
enemy.
I got to get you before you get me.
I have a question, just for everybody here. Do you believe that the majority of Black men will ever align with Deity's mindset or her viewpoint on,
Right, but
on
everything
Black
is
America?
absolutely. And so if it were to come to that situation head on, face to face, then that's what you would do. But if you're talking about systematically getting up out of
Okay, she cut off. I can't hear her.
Yeah, I was just wondering, do you, from your all perspective, do you actually think that the majority of Black men will ever align with her
SKC, I don't think she
worldview?
heard you.
Oh,
And
I'm muted
Roberta,
my mic. Me? Oh, not me. Okay.
Can I,
I
say
think I'm
something
breaking
right
up
quick?
too.
Sure.
Can I
Go
say
ahead,
something?
Ray. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, for some reason, every time we talk about the breakup of the Black family, we keep going back to that Black men were kicked out of the home stuff. That was talking about social housing. The vast majority of Black people did not live in that, so that doesn't even apply to us. But for somehow that stereotype took over the entire Black community, which is not the case. Most of us did not live in government housing, never have, and probably never will. So that whole argument doesn't even apply to the vast majority of us. That
Yeah, that's
specific rule, that specific law was for government housing, which the vast majority of us never lived in.
Well, I don't know if it was specifically for government housing, Ms. J, because it was a law that was implemented mostly in the southern states. That's the majority of the history
No. That is basically for people who live in subsidized housing. That's what that rule is for. In order for you to go ahead and have the government pay for part of your housing, or you live in free housing, that rule applied there. Other than that, it's literally against the Constitution for them to sit there and say, hey, if you're not married to somebody or so-and-so and so, they can't live in your house. That's against castle
It didn't
doctrine.
matter where you lived. If you needed assistance, if you needed public assistance,
That's what I'm saying. That's
what mattered. It didn't matter where you
exactly.
lived. Not
saying,
government housing only, anywhere, wherever you
no,
live.
That's
because they have rooming houses, sister. They have rooming houses and boarding houses and things like that. I'm just trying to bring that to your attention. They did have,
I'm saying, I'm agreeing. I'm saying
that
that's
might not have been considered government housing.
That is when the government pays for your housing, it's government housing.
You know what
I'm
I
not
mean
talking
by
about projects. I'm not talking about projects.
I'm talking about boarding houses. I'm talking. You know,
I'm not talking about the projects. I'm saying if the government.
Is she
right?
I'm on mute. I'm not on mute. I'm not talking about government housing either. It didn't matter wherever you were. If you found yourself needing public assistance, then
that's what I'm saying.
Applied. Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm saying.
Well beyond the public housing system. It didn't matter. Public housing system.
The public housing system was called the projects. The public housing system was called
That
the
rule
project.
didn't just
But
apply
government
to people
assisting.
in the projects. It didn't just apply to people in the projects. It applied
I'm
to
agreeing
anybody
with
who
you.
needs
I
public
am
assistance.
agreeing with you.
But
I'm agreeing with you.
Ladies, I want to move on to the next question, because the next question I wanted to ask is, and I saw someone say it down in the comments, but they made a point to say that Black women do not like being submissive around Black men. And I wanted to get everybody's thoughts on that particular statement.
Well, Black women are going to be submissive around a man whose energy demands that type of response. And when I say demand, for the slow people in the back, I'm not saying that he's telling you to do it and forcing you to do it. I'm just saying when a man is in his natural state, it puts a woman in her natural state. If a man is effeminate, then a female might have to come out of her natural feminine, vibration.
Okay, SKC, what do you have to say about that? Do you believe that Black women like being submissive around other groups of men versus Black men?
Yes.
And why is that, according to you?
Well, I'm not sure so far as the why. There's a lot of different.
So then what gives you, why would you say yes if you don't even know where you would pick that up from?
Because it's observed.
Okay.
You can't.
And where do you observe it?
And not know the reason why.
And where do you observe this at?
Why are you so confrontational, Deity?
Who's confrontational? I'm asking you the same questions that you were asking me. I'm just asking you, where do you observe this at? Don't get backed up in a corner and start complaining and scratching.
I'm not. I'm just saying that when you say the whole thought about, I'll say being feminine and being non-combative, it shows in their inability to be able to attract long-term relationships.
And is this all Black women, or is this just the Black women that you have ran across?
No, it's a great majority. They complain about it themselves.
Right, but where do you see these women? Since you said that you observe it, where do you see these women?
All
right, next person. So that means that you're just you're stereotyping with no real.
These are
data.
your own words. These are your own words, not mine.
I didn't even explain to you where it came from. I was cut off.
Am I making this up, ladies? Are there not?
You said that you observed it. I'm just one person, but you said that you observed this from multiple people, and I'm asking you where.
Find long-term relationships. Am I making this up?
You can't even answer the question. Why do you want Black women to answer questions about Black women in a negative way? And if they answer, do you think Black women are that stupid? Next person. Yeah, right. Next person.
Words.
But I'm saying you can't expect. I'm saying you're expecting femininity and submission from someone you also expect masculine qualities from. You have to pick a side. You can't have both. You can't have the women out here working. I'm saying
for either of it.
I'm saying, but that is what's asked. It's not maybe not you specifically, but that is what's asked. And we're answering the question, expecting femininity and submission.
So are you saying that having a job?
It's not maybe not you specifically, but it's not about just having a job.
So are you saying that
I wouldn't even engage him because he's trying to make it
it's not about just having a job.
Girl, I wouldn't even. He's trying to act like it's in the gene of a Black woman to be non-feminine with Black men and can't even explain where he's coming from with it. Next person, like that's retarded.
Okay,
can he explain what non-feminine is? What is non-feminine? Sorry, Faith, I didn't mean to.
There's a gentleman by the name of Rashad waiting to get in, but Rashad, I can't connect you because you don't have your mic connected at all. So that's the only reason why I can't put you in here. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but I'm saying it's not even about having a job.
Okay, so
a lot of times if you're being the majority, or a lot of times sole breadwinner, you're out there doing basically the providing for and everything like that. And then you want to have that same woman to come home and do all the cooking, all the cleaning, raising all the kids while you sit at home and do what? And then you want to turn around and tell her what to do? Of course they're not going to listen to you.
Who is
that's
that?
Just
ma'am, he's trolling you.
I know, but I'm just saying the point is
I'm
the
not trolling.
whole concept doesn't make sense.
Right.
And I don't know why that keeps being brought up.
Okay, so
what is his idea of submission? Can you tell us what your idea of submissive woman is to you?
not being combative and being a feminine woman all the time.
They basically
What
want
does
you to
that
shut up.
mean, though? Wait a minute. What does
That means for you to shut
that's
up.
what it sounds like you're saying. What does being
That's
a
it.
feminine woman mean? What is a feminine woman? What does she do? How does she wear her hair? You know, tell us. Because you're trying to say that black women aren't this. So give us a visual of who this imaginary person is.
Wow, imaginary. Wow. How about a cooperative? How about being able to discuss matters without taking an argumentative tone? How about sharing responsibilities that has to do with like child rearing? How about asking questions instead of making demands?
And you've never met black women like this? Since
Hey,
they want to entertain you, go ahead. You ain't never met black women like this?
I'm speaking to you and you're being like this.
Okay, so you're talking about one person. Next person, you're ridiculous.
You being like that to me too. And I'm just asking him a question. I'm like, dang, I'm just asking him. You know what I mean? What I like to hear, men. I like to hear what they have to say.
Yeah, but see, at the same time, when you have somebody in your face disrespecting you and you can't recognize when you're being disrespected, I think that that's also an insecurity that black women have when these men try to play reverse
I don't think he said
psychology.
anything disrespectful.
Yes, he did when he specified that mostly black women are combative and then couldn't give or they don't submit to black men and then couldn't even come up with where he got that from. See, my thing is that a lot of these types of men try to play reverse psychology games on black women and then have you submit to their bullshit and then you sit here and listen to them bash you and you try to prove to them that you're not that way. He could kiss my ass.
I don't care. He's not my man. Like, he's not in my everyday life.
Right.
So it ain't
So
that serious for me.
I'm sitting here
So I'm just
telling
listening to his
you as a black
perspective.
woman, I'm
I
actually
don't believe
protecting
it.
you
I'm not
as a
going
black
with it.
woman over a man who's disrespecting all of us on here. But next person, go ahead.
He disrespecting us, but white supremacy is killing us. That's what I'm saying.
That's not
I
what
don't
we're
know.
talking about,
We're
right?
confused.
You just say, lady, you can't be for real.
I'm just.
So
I
You
am
can't
being
even
for
see
real.
when
Like,
people
is that
are disrespecting you and somebody is actually on your side. That's like something ain't right.
if I could just
nah?
pose
It's
something
I
real
don't.
quick,
I'm just saying he just gave his perspective. That's all I'm saying.
But
That he
you
just
stated
gave
that
his
I was being
perspective,
disrespectful.
and we don't have to. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it was disrespectful. I just said maybe you was a little combative. I just
So when I
asked him
said
a
that he
question.
was
Why
disrespectful,
not
you were attacking
entertain?
me, and I'm telling you that he's disrespecting
Well, I'm sorry.
disrespecting black women.
Deity, curse
Respect,
me.
queen. Respect.
Okay. I just want to hear their perspective. We have to let them talk because we do shut them up. A lot of them have had mothers who shut them up and shut them down, and we do kind of have to listen to them, even if we don't agree.
Well,
You know, you can disagree with everything he's saying, but we do, we got to stop shutting them down because we do that too
right,
much.
and I feel you, queen, but I also feel like we got to stop babying grown men and allowing them to disrespect us.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't do that. I agree with you 100%. When they get disrespectful, really disrespectful,
Doesn't matter
then
how calm his tone is, he's still being disrespectful by sitting there putting this false stereotype on the majorative, and he can't even give any type of conclusive evidence as to where he gets that from.
And
we're
that's
sitting
why
here
you don't pay
listening
no
to that.
mind because he doesn't
Right,
even have
but
an
you were
argument
asking
to
him
back
questions.
what he's
That's
saying.
why I was
So
asking next person.
that's true. Okay, mute my mic.
So having an opinion that differs from yourself is disrespectful.
Next person.
Hey,
So let me ask you, New York. What's your name?
This is an
New York.
example, and this is an
Yeah.
example.
What's the lady's name from New York?
Meet Ray Ray.
Ray, let me ask you this. Do you believe that black women are submissive to black men? Why and or why not, from your perspective? And if they are, what do you think takes that type of energy to come from that woman towards that man?
I think black women are submissive to the men that they're in relationships with. I think it becomes combative when other men come, because for some reason black men want to dominate all black women in any situation they come across. I don't know why it is. You could be in a board meeting any situation. You could be working a security job, any situation with these men. They want to dominate and control you, and they don't do that to white women. They are submissive to white women. So, like I said again, I believe that we are submissive to the men that we are in relationships with.
Exactly.
And the second, and what was the other part?
Well, so let me ask you this. If a black woman, going back to the other part, if a black woman is submissive towards a black man, what type of energy do you think has to resonate from him in order to bring that vibration out of her?
Oh, nothing but positive energy.
Mhm.
Nothing but positive energy, leadership, true leadership skills, and a warrior. You know, to me, 'cause
Absolutely.
I like a warrior man.
Yes, Lord.
Mhm.
A strong black king. You understand? I can't deal
Yep.
with no effeminate men, because if a man is effeminate, then that's going to bring out the warrior spirit in a woman. I mean, a woman in her natural state, in her natural, and a black woman in her natural black mind.
My only counter is I think this is a working case study as to why you have so many black women who are not in long-term committed relationships.
Because a lot
Okay.
of black women have learned over the years that simply going ahead and going along with some BS just to get a man does not work out. So they're not going to do it. You can't come up and disrespect somebody, denigrate somebody, and then expect them to turn around and bow down to you and kiss your behind. It doesn't work.
Right.
Every human being in this world, they go along to get along. You have to give something to get something. If all you're giving is negativity, you're going to get negativity in return.
I agree with that, but let me give you an example. Can you name one thing that I've stated that has been, I would say, disrespectful to anyone on this panel?
Okay, your tone of voice isn't disrespectful, but the way you're trying to portray things is very disrespectful.
I mean, I think
You know,
I
but I'm
said that
saying
multiple times.
I'm saying, and I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying the difference is we're not going to. A lot of people
Oh, not
who
to
are
you,
a lot
Queen.
of
I was
women.
talking to him. My bad.
No,
Go
I'm
ahead.
saying a lot of women who are in this space. We've listened for years to men like you who turn around and try to make everything about black women. The whole thing about the black communities on black women, and we're just tired of it. So when you're coming on here, when you first came on here talking about the reason why black women have low self-esteem is basically they got it from their black mothers and their black sisters and their black cousins, acting like we don't know where it really came from. That was disrespectful. Your tone wasn't disrespectful, but what you're trying to portray is very disrespectful.
But
And
see,
some
a lot
people
of
are
these
But
just not
isn't
black
that
having
his
it.
own inner insecurities? Isn't that his own
But I'm
inner
saying, but the
insecurities
point
that
is,
he's trying to project onto
no,
us?
but I'm just saying the difference is there are a lot of black women who are just not having that conversation anymore. They've done the back and forth. They tried to explain where they're coming from, and all they've gotten on was shitted on, and they're not having it anymore. So I understand where she's coming from. She's heard that nonsense before, and she's just not having it. That's why she's saying next question. She knows where this is leading because she's been down this road before.
Well, I
If you've been down a
technically
dead end
haven't.
road all the time, you're not going to do it.
Hold on, Queen. I want to say this. I technically haven't put up with this type of behavior from a man, but I'm rational and coherent enough to understand when someone is disrespecting me. See, I don't have
I
to
know.
get ran over multiple times in order for me to say, look, excuse me, can you stop moving your car? And if that motherfucker don't, then I need to learn to get up. I know from jump, like I'm not putting up with that disrespect.
I know.
So
I'm saying I see where you're coming from.
I
But I'm saying if
that.
someone hasn't seen it before, they're not going to understand where you're coming from. I know where you're coming from because I've seen
where
this
she's
before.
coming from. I'm just
Respect.
saying for sisters to not be, so upset about when you come across these guys. They have their own hangups. That's them. Why project it onto yourself?
Right.
Why
I wasn't
even
upset.
get
That's why I
mad
was
at
like, we
them?
need
Like,
to move on.
it's something wrong with you, pal. That's you laugh at them. You need help.
So
No, she's just saying she's not entertaining it. That's the whole point.
So
That's what
having,
she's saying.
Oh,
She's not
okay.
entertaining it. So
Because I
agree
was
with
saying
that.
listen to him. Oh, okay. Because I was saying just listen to his perspective. That's all. Okay, I get it.
so having a different perspective and disagreeing with you is disrespectful.
Well, you didn't acknowledge that black men perpetuated if you felt like black women have insecurities, you didn't acknowledge the role that black males played in it. You eliminated yourself like, that's just from your mom's, your cousin that went on in your house. As if when we went outside, you didn't have guys saying those very two things. When I came on, I said that they were saying that to black women all the time.
Okay, and I'll agree with you on that. But just because I didn't say that that's a form of disrespect.
Yes,
No,
because you
Yeah,
have to
you're gaslighting.
take accountability
Gaslighting
for
is
your
disrespect.
role.
Wow.
Gaslighting is disrespect. Trying to pretend someone's stupid is disrespect. Trying to pretend that we not seeing what we're seeing and hearing what we're hearing, that is
I told you
disrespect.
this weird ass nigga is up here
Hmm.
playing with y'all. But but what's the next question, Faye? Or SKC, if you want to ask another question, go ahead. What's up?
So when it came to this,
SKC, you funny, yo.
when it came to this, these ideas that, you know, your hair wasn't good enough or a person was too dark or and so forth, you're saying that white people put that into the minds of these, let's say, children, that these children didn't learn that from people that look like them?
Didn't I answer
Yeah,
that
of course
question
they
earlier?
did, because they control the standard of beauty through publication. You look at magazines like Vogue and all these other publications that, you know, a lot of us that are into fashion like to look at. So they control what the standard of beauty was. And what you guys did was piggyback off of that, you know, by teasing us about our hair and our complexion.
So
Girl,
how
let me
did
tell
it
you
go
something. Hold on, let me
from-
say this real quick. SKC. One of the things that I always tell Black people, and I'm gonna move back because I'm gonna let y'all answer these questions, but I just want to say this: when a white person asks a Black person about slavery, it's like, how dare you ask your victim to explain the atrocities that you've committed upon them? And if any Black person were to answer those questions and entertain this cracker who's sitting here essentially laughing at your oppression, you are a motherfucking mammy. But go ahead. I just wanted to put that out there. Go ahead, Queen.
Who's a mammy though?
No, I didn't. You didn't hear.
Is somebody in the chat?
I don't.
Oh.
Did you hear what I said? I don't think.
I
Did you
don't know,
hear
because
everything,
I
or
don't
was I
know.
breaking out?
YouTube is a mother, boy. I don't know. People will be
Oh no, was
saying
I
different
breaking in
things
and
if you
out?
don't know
No,
till later.
essentially what I was saying is okay, so let me break it down real simple. It makes no sense to explain to the people who oppress you how they do it, why they do it, and so forth, because they know what they're doing. And when you try to explain yourself and explain the hurt and pain that they've caused you, you're essentially making yourself look foolish. That's all I'm saying.
But
I was
we're
just
having a
using
conversation and he's on the panel. So if he's on the panel and he's talking, I'm talking.
but that
to him.
doesn't mean that you
I'm
have
not.
to be
After I get off of here,
disrespected.
I'm not going to carry him in my mind.
Yeah, but I'm just
What's
saying
your name,
that doesn't
guy?
mean
CK. Nice to meet you. After today, I'm never going to hear about you again. So you know what I mean? Like I just view things differently.
Oh, okay, but go
I just
ahead,
view
Queen.
things differently. That's all.
All right. Well, I wanted to kind of move this on to the other gender real quickly. And also there's another person that just joined the panel. I don't have your name up here. Can you introduce yourself?
Hello.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yes,
can
we can hear you.
Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Cynthia Wheeler.
Hi,
I'm from
Cynthia.
Florida.
Hi,
how you
I'm from
doing?
Florida too, girl. I'm from Miami. Where you from?
Oh, Palm Beach County.
All right.
In the country though. Yeah.
Okay.
But
okay.
What I want to say, when there is a perceived lack of scarcity of resources, people act differently. For example, toilet paper. People was willing to pay $20, $30, $40 for a roll of toilet paper or bleach. And when there is a perceived lack of good men or a scarcity of Black men, it's like Black women should dumb down and reduce our requirements to be with that. I have no problem being submissive to a man who is walking in his fullness. I'm not going to be submissive to somebody who finna lead me down a dead end street. There are things that I may have to learn because I was brought up in a single parent household, but I'm not going to be working 40 hours, 50 hours outside of the home, come home and cook dinner and then say, clean up the kitchen, do all this. Now we can get in there together and do that. And no man would want his wife to do that. And they go to religion and all of this stuff. And they say the woman is the weaker vessel. Well, how I'm the weaker vessel and I got to work 40, 50 hours outside the house and then come and work 40 and 50 hours inside the house. But I'm the weakest. Men, a lot of these men don't even do the things that men do. Your tire, you on the side of the road with a flat tire, they don't even know how to change a tire. But they want this respect of a king and all of this submission. which I don't think any woman would have a problem with doing it because we're going to be submissive to each other. But when it's one-sided, it's no longer submission. It's something else. It's abusive in my view. And we're supposed to take this. And when we don't take it, we're considered bitter. When we don't take it, we don't know how to treat a man. And in my opinion, when they were talking about looks and color, a lot of these men do not like black. I like a black man. I have dated or attempted to date other. I just like black. I don't have a problem with my black features, but it looked like these men want to water down the blackness in their future generations of children. And I'm not going to say black women, we don't have issues with how we look or this or that, because we done had a whole 400 years of people telling us we look like crap. But I don't think that we hate black men's blackness like they hate or don't like black beauty.
I agree. And the difference is when they're going out there telling it to us, like back in the day, they weren't blatant about it, but now they're blatant about it. So this is why you have the attitude that you have with black women. And it's not going to change until how we're treated has changed. So it's like it's like a never ending loop. And, it's going to be hard to break out of that. But going around calling that's done, now the new word is the hyena and the scraggle daggle and everything like that. Name calling us to this point is not going to change anything. It's only going to do is harden people's position more than ever. You can't have submission and you're not providing anything in return for that submission. You get submission when you provide. If you don't provide, you're not going to get submission. You can't be a king if you don't have a kingdom. Period.
And that's the exact same thing that Nancy, the African woman in the video that I played earlier, was saying. She's saying that she's non-ADOS, and the women in her country are complaining that the American men are going over there, going across seas. They're telling them that they got money, that they can provide. They want women who are submissive. They're telling them that the American black women are not submissive, that we're trash. But then they get over there and they don't even provide for these women that they want the submission from over there.
All right. The okie doke only works but for so long. Eventually you have to produce. You can talk, give game all you want to. Eventually you have to actually produce. And when you don't produce, you're going to get that result. No one wants to hear about nonsense all the time. Eventually you have to show the goods. Don't talk about your money. You got to spend it. If you don't spend it, no one cares about the money in your pocket.
Exactly. I just wanted to throw in that 34% of the white women in these interracial relationships are finding themselves single mothers also. So
yeah.
Okay.
And they are the most unstable relationships out of it all. So you can't even throw that up in our face and get that kind of result that you used to get back in the day. It doesn't work anymore.
All right.
Across the board, and we.
Sorry, go ahead.
I need to go ahead and rotate because I got more people requesting to get in here.
All right, I'm out. I'm gonna sign off.
Okay.
When white women went to demanding the actual treatment and they see how we were being treated and they start being treated like that, now man say, well, we're going to get us an Asian woman because they're more submissive. They're going to pivot from this race to that race when people get tired of the BS and require that they stand up. But as long as black women do it against each other, and I'm not even talking about the other races, they're going to have somewhere to run to. And we as black women have to stop being critical of each other and allowing them to be divisive against us.
Exactly.
We as black women have to stop allowing it. Oh, you a baby mama, you married, you light skinned, you got black features, because it's just high school. In high school, I noticed the boys would talk about, oh, she a slut, she wifey material, she bougie, and have all the women arguing against each other. And we ain't talking to each other or fighting each other, and he's screwing all of us.
Right.
Yep.
See, because that gives him power.
Yeah.
It's the hamster on the wheel. You're moving your feet, you're working hard, and you're not going anywhere. Eventually you're gonna realize, wait a minute, I'm putting all this work and I'm getting nothing in return. I'm gonna stop. And that's what's happening.
Yes. And so, but I just don't think it's very receptive to hear any constructive criticism.
Rashad, hold on a second. Rashad, you keep requesting to come in here, Rashad, but you don't have your speaker connected. I need you to go into whatever settings that you have and connect your speaker.
I'm gonna exit out and let somebody else come in.
Yeah, I'm glad Rashad put that up on the screen, man. It's that I've been hearing that more and more from a lot of other brothers.
Okay, but right now we have Chef Disaster is on here. Welcome to the stream, Chef Disaster.
How you doing, Faith? What's going on, everybody on the panel?
Hey.
I came up for the part of the title that says black men want submission, don't want to provide. It doesn't say nothing on my end. I don't know what are you asking black men to provide to get submission? Because I keep hearing I'll submit to a black man who's walking in his fullness. Well, what exactly is a black man walking in his fullness? Because I know what I think that is, but I want to hear what you guys think that is, since you're throwing that up there to say that's where to get submission.
No offense to you, Chef Disaster. This is just my personal perspective, but as a man, you should already know what that is. You should be telling us what it is.
Oh, I know what it is.
Oh, okay. So what is it?
You're not representing. No disrespect to you, but from what you've been saying, you're not representing what I know a black man to be.
Okay. Well, so what is it?
Walking in your own is being proud to be black and not letting nobody disrespect you because of that. That's walking in your own. Just being a man in general is walking in your own. That's why I'm saying the representation of that is way off. Now, submission coming financially, you'll submit to somebody who's financial. How many of y'all know any CEOs, any black CEOs, any black senators, any black chiefs of the police?
Well, my dad is an accountant and he's a VP over the school in Florida.
Okay,
so,
one.
I mean, he's a,
one.
I mean, but what's your point to that?
So my point is, a lot of women won't submit to men who are not in these positions. That's what you're representing up here on the panel.
Did anybody say that?
Of course you did.
Okay, well, see,
I didn't say that.
No, nobody said that. The act of the submission, first of all, that is an action or effect of accepting or yielding to a superior force, okay, or the will of an authority of another person. Now, as far as the superior force portion of that definition, a woman is not going to yield to a man who does not present himself as being a superior force. If you're acting just as feminine as me, then I'm not going to feel as if you are a superior force that I should have to submit to. So that is the problem that we're having here.
So so a black man, knowing that he's a black man, is not masculine. There's no masculinity.
You have to give more than that. No, this is not the 1960s and 70s. There has to be more than that. That worked for the previous generations. We've seen where that's led to, and we're saying no. We need more than that.
Right. And
having swag, having bounce, having all that stuff. That doesn't work. We want more. The light bill needs to be paid. What are you going to do about that?
And you're making my point. You see, when you think you're better than the species of man, because you don't know me, nor do you know any of the men I know.
She wasn't talking about you, though, sir.
And she's making that point to me.
No, I'm saying you asked the question about in general, and I'm answering the question in general, not about you. I don't know you.
And I'm making the answer. I'm responding in general. You can't make an in general response to that. You can't blanket.
No, she was just saying that she wanted a man who would be able to financially provide, amongst other things, but she specified financial security. What's wrong with that?
And I asked you how many men to the standard of women fit the standard of women financially.
But you didn't ask any of the women on this panel what they would deal with or what their financial standard was.
How many barbers do you know? How many niggas do you know selling CDs? How many niggas that you know working at restaurants? Come on, ladies, be true. How many of y'all know a black man like that?
I'm sorry. I mean, are you one of
all-
those men? Is that where your smoke coming from, or is that where your emotions are coming from?
It's not smoke. It's not smoke at all.
Oh, cause you real amped up. I'm like, what's up? What's
I'm
wrong?
not amped up. That's just adrenaline. That's part of being a man. Word.
Can I
But
chime
I'm
in?
saying if you're going out if I'm going out in the workforce, you're going out in the workforce, we're doing 50-50 or 60-40 or 70-30 in the women's place, and then they're coming home, taking care of the majority of them are doing the housework, they're doing the majority of the child caring, and then all of a sudden you want me to do all this extra stuff in the name of, well, I don't have a penis, so therefore I don't, I have to go and just listen to everything you have to say. No, that doesn't work that way.
So and we're not talking about slaving anybody, but since you make the same amount of money or maybe more than me, the role gets reversed or becomes you get to say things like as far as what things are.
Yeah.
Do I get to say things? Yeah. I don't have to run the whole house, but at the same time, I'm saying I don't have to run the whole house, but at the same time, if I have to go ahead and listen to you 100% of the time, no.
So
again, I get to have some say too.
Right.
You pay the cost. You pay the cost to be the boss.
Right. So again, how many of y'all know niggas with boss status? I asked y'all. Nobody answered.
I told you.
We don't know a lot.
Right. So how many of us know men that are working in these low income jobs?
Okay, when I go, somebody's made the other day that women ain't working and we sitting around waiting and being lazy.
You're dancing. I did not say that.
When I go into any job as a black woman, I work. I'm surrounded by predominantly black women working. When I go into the KFC and it's women and the people working, I see 6 or 7 women to 1 man maybe. When I go into Walmart, I see multiple black women to no black men. So the thing is, we ain't talking about we trying to be some gold diggers, whatever your socioeconomic status is.
And that's
the black women are working and bringing it to the table. They say black people have.
Hold on a second. And the reality of it is, if you're working at Popeyes, if you're working at Walmart, can you really afford a family?
No.
I would say no.
Right. So why are we bringing up Walmart and Popeyes and all these other places?
So he was just saying that black women, and I was just saying, I see black women working on all socioeconomic statuses. I see black women owning businesses. We're out there. We're doing our thing and bringing it to the table. We're not asking for anything that we are not able to contribute the same. And it is not crazy to ask that the other person contribute the same. And we both working 40 hours outside the home. We should both come in and we got to put 20 in the home. You grab 10 and we do it together and call it a day. I don't think I see black women saying they don't want to do that, but that's not what we're being offered.
I agree.
So it seems like these relationships that are being sought after are mainly centered around financial, either security or gain. Am I wrong for saying that?
Yeah, you're wrong. The
vast majority of black women in relationships don't even have financial security. Married black women may have less wealth than single white women.
So SKC, I guess this is a point for the question that you had in regards to, do people get married for finances? I guess this is a part of your case study you just asked, so I guess you're seeing, right?
No, because I'm a married individual. My wife is listening to this and she's shaking her head too. But it's just weird to me that a lot of the individuals here, when they brought up having a stable relationship, it seems like most of the conversation centered around either, again, financial security or financial gain. And I think that may be some of the problem.
Is there something wrong with wanting financial security? If we're married, we have to live somewhere. We have to be food, shelter, clothing, the basic minimums. Yeah, people do want to be secure and have that. So is it wrong to want that? And they say Black people have the lowest amount of accumulated wealth. And it's because it's just common sense. If two people, instead of having two rents, two mortgages, two this, two that, what is wrong with us wanting to have stability and build wealth within to bring children into a world so they can be secure, so they can live their best life, and we can give them the tools to take themselves to the next level.
And furthermore, it's irresponsible to not want a mate that could help you financially. I mean, we're not in high school. So SKC, I don't see how you don't understand that.
Well, I understand that. What I'm saying is,
hold on. I accidentally booted some. I think it was Miss J. Miss J, I do apologize. I didn't mean to boot you off there. I was trying to mute somebody's mic. There she is. Oh, wait a minute. Who is this? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Somebody else just entered the screen. Hi, Esty the Bestie. How are you?
I'm okay. How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing good. What did you want to add to the conversation?
I specifically wanted to address something that Dexter Vassar has said. He was talking about basically inflating our expectations and saying, well, they're not six-figure guys, and is this the kind of man that you guys say that you want and you mean when you say he's welcoming his masculinity and all that kind of stuff? I can say that, especially for like the millennial generation, it's certain fundamental things that a lot of our men are lacking and don't really understand that they should come. And this is outside of money, you know what I mean? And when we are in relationships with them, or we are operating with them, and we don't see these things coming from them, then, you know what I mean, it makes us feel a certain type of way, like something as simple as having foresight and being able to solve problems. If you are looking to your woman to solve the problem, then that submission that you want from her, you're less likely to get it if you have to come to her every single time you need to solve a problem. You have to talk to her and you have to see what she wants to do. You basically put it in her hands to solve a problem. You know what I mean? De-escalating a situation, and I'm not even talking about like a fight or anything. Like if your woman just came home and she's having a bad day, and you know the exact right things to say to her, she knows that when she go home, I can talk to my man and everything's gonna be all right. He's gonna make it okay. He's gonna know what to say. I'm gonna feel better after I speak to him. You know what I mean? Certain things like that, and like with the millennials, things like just fixing stuff up around the house. A lot of millennial men don't even know how to do that. They don't know how to do work on cars and stuff like that, and be disciplined in their feelings and emotions and not throw temper tantrums and things like that. That is a part of a man walking in his masculinity. And I know specifically with this generation, that is almost non-existent, but yet those same exact men are like, you're a woman, so you're supposed to submit to me, be quiet when I'm talking, don't address me a certain way, don't raise your voice if you get upset. But it's like, okay, but you basically almost can't even function in normal adulthood without my input or without my help. So then that makes us a partnership. That doesn't make you a leader anymore. You understand what I'm saying?
And SC the Bestie, you disagree with me on a few things, and I would like to hear your perspective on some of those things. I don't remember, but I like to hear different perspectives.
Well, what
I hear you.
Agree with you about?
SC the Bestie.
Yeah, go ahead, Chef.
I definitely respect your answer. It's definitely a truthful answer, and I see where you're coming from, and I get that. As a man, I get that. I don't need a woman to tell me how to treat her, how to be to her. I don't need that. That's not what the women were representing up here, is what I'm saying. As submissive, as walking in their own. That's not what they were representing. You were representing more of the financial standpoint.
No, you brought that up. To my knowledge, you came on a panel and you were asking for we were talking about if a man his masculinity, they'll naturally fall into submission, and you wanted them to lay out what that meant. And one of the women used finances as an example. And that's
sweetie, they were talking about it all before I got on the panel. That's why I got on the panel.
I'm one of those women, and we weren't talking about that specifically. I stated what she just said. I said.
But you were. It was brought up. I mean, if we want to tiptoe around it, that's fine. But most of you women were judging submission financially.
But look, at the end of the day, you get a woman who wants to deal with you, and then you won't really have these issues. I mean, you got to be with somebody that you're equally yoked to at the end of the day.
I know that. See, you're doing what you were accusing SKC of doing.
And what was that?
Being disrespectful.
You're being sensitive, but go ahead.
No, I'm not.
And you're being overly emotional.
Right. When I do it, I'm sensitive and overly emotional.
Now, brother, you see what just happened, bro? You just posed a question and you had a different opinion. And when you say that, you're emotional, you're this, you're that.
He didn't have a different opinion. He was stating what someone said or what the conversation was about. So that was an actual tangible non-fact. That was not an opinion. But Esty the Bestie, I have a question. So when you were saying that you disagreed with some of the stuff that I was saying, I like to hear other women's opinions. So what was it that you were disagreeing with? You said that I was misinterpreting what SKC was saying?
And before she answers, Chef Disaster, can you turn your mic down just a little bit? It's a little loud.
Is that better?
No, turn it down just a little bit more.
How about that?
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, I know what you're talking about in the chat when I said that you're misinterpreting what he said. I can't remember exactly what it was that he said, but I do remember saying that there was one particular thing that he said, and you took it and basically, you responded to it. You responded to something that he never stated. And so I was in the chat and I'm like, no, that's not what he said.
Oh, okay. I was curious. But Faith, you bringing up some good topics, Queen. What's the next topic?
Oh, no. Actually, I need to rotate you guys out again because Miss J's been waiting patiently in the background here. So who wants to step down so that Miss J can come back up?
I will.
Okay. Who is that?
Cynthia.
Oh, Cynthia. Oh, okay. Thank you so much for joining us, Cynthia.
Nice to meet you, Cynthia.
Nice to meet you too.
Great conversation, Cynthia.
Okay. And I'm going to bring in Miss J. You're back.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So I wanted to move over to the next question because, once again, my questions are based off of a live that I was looking at from MT1's channel. And like I said, it was a African woman on there made a observation about American Black men in her country not providing for the women over there. And then also, I do want to bring up the colorism point because there's some things that happened in that live stream that I wanted to highlight. But there was a mixed race young lady in that live stream by the name of Janae. And she was very loud, very argumentative with one of the men on the panel, okay? She told him that he was undesirable in her eyes. This is a young mixed race Black woman in her 20s. She told him that he was fat, he was ugly, and he was loud and undesirable. So basically, she was pretty much saying that, young women have, standards as well as far as what they like. So I wanted to hear what you guys have to say about that. And then also, she brought up his age as well. He's too old. So I would really like to know what the men thought about that.
I'll let Chef go first.
What was the Pacific? I'm sorry.
Well, what do you think about younger women having their preferences as far as what they want in men? This young lady was saying that she didn't like the brother. He was out of shape. He was fat. He was unattractive. He was loud. She didn't like his demeanor and personality. The same thing that Black men usually say about Black women. She kind of gave it back to him. And it seems to me that black men, when it comes to preferences, they seem to want to have this tall list of preferences for themselves, but it seems that black men don't really want black women to have preferences. Do you think that this is the case, Chef Disaster?
I believe it. I believe it's the case, but to narrow it down to just black, I just think there's no lane for that.
All right.
And my thought is she can prefer to have whatever she wants. It's her choice. What's wrong with that?
I want to get my perspective once they're done.
Okay.
Yeah. You can have what you want. Set your bar high. You got to.
Yeah, I mean, what's the problem with that? If that's, she has certain ideals of what she wants, and she believes that she has the social and I would say if she thinks she has it like that, hey, go ahead. I mean, what's the problem?
Okay, so basically you guys don't have a problem with her having her preferences. Because what I've been hearing a lot of, and I'm just going to give a little pushback here, black men are telling black women that our preferences are too high, that we always look for the 6'6" guy, the guy with the six pack, the guy with the six figures, the 6, 6, and 6. So they're saying that our expectations are a little bit too high, unreasonable.
Right. That's why I said there's no lane. I'm sorry if somebody wanted to say something, but I believe there's no lane for that. That's an individual situation. You're individually entitled to whoever, whatever, and how you want it. When you make it a general observation and then try to give, your opinion on it generally, I think that's where it becomes a problem for a woman to say, and generally she wants all black men to be this. If she's doing that, then I can see the problem. But if it's just an individual situation, there's absolutely no problem with that.
Right, but you do have a lot of black men out here that say that they want all black women to be a certain way. All black women need to wear their hair natural. All black women need to hit the gym and be fit for you. All black women need to be submissive and talk in a certain tone of voice. So I'm getting something completely different from you guys today.
No, I think in the context of conversations that I've been on has been when people bring that conversation out to a larger spectrum. It's like if you just want to look at things mathematically, you automatically know that guys of that caliber are in very, very, very high demand, and just percentage wise, something as simple as like the height thing. That's like what less than 10% of all men on earth. So I think it's kind of ridiculous for certain individuals to have those type of requirements. But hey, if that's what they want and they want to bat after that and so forth, yeah, go ahead. But we obviously know that everybody is not going to get that. It's not going to even be close. So if they want to live in the misery of going after something that cannot be accomplished, hey, that's them.
All right. So speaking to your specific question, you made it a point to point out that she was in her 20s, that she was biracial, and that she was extremely abrasive with her point when she addressed how she felt about that man. And usually the more societally privileged a woman is in a particular situation, i.e. dating, the more outspoken that woman would be, because she has choices and or she doesn't have an inferiority complex in those situations. And so if she is young, that is an advantage. In the event that you're dealing with black people, and most black people have issues with esteem in regards to their blackness, her being biracial in that instance is an advantage. And so that's the reason why she was able to get away with being as outspoken and vocal, regardless of how harsh it may have been.
Yes, and I did also notice that the men that she was attacking, none of them came at her the same way that they would usually come at the average black woman. They didn't attack her looks. Nobody said anything about her looks. So I just found that whole interaction to be pretty interesting.
Because the privileged girl always gets to be outspoken. The privileged person, specifically if you're a female, the more outspoken a person is, that usually means the less affected that they were in society or in whatever event that they're speaking in or that they're in. Right. So the least outspoken a person is in regards to certain situations, i.e. beauty and dating in regards to Black women, that usually has something to do with an inferiority complex or them having received backlash previously. And it's like, I don't want to step out there to keep getting it. So I want to kind of stay in the background, play the nice, innocent role because I don't want to be called out, misjudged, and or judged harshly.
Exactly. And it's very good that you brought up that last point, because there was that Black lady, the African lady that I showed you guys earlier that was talking about the women in their country. It's mighty funny how soft-spoken she was, how agreeable she was. Toward the end of that segment, the Black men did start attacking her looks though, and she was very soft-spoken and agreeable.
Yeah, and unfortunately, and this is a reality, we talking about complexion, dark-skinned women or dark-skinned women are usually least resistant to abuse because they don't want to be negatively judged as abrasive and argumentative, because they understand that that's going to happen in most cases, unfortunately. And so what ends up happening is they put themselves in a position to be abused because they don't want to speak up in a lot of cases. This is not all dark-skinned women, but in most cases, when incidences like this happen, it's the dark-skinned woman that's usually being attacked. Now, where I'm from Florida and Miami, dark-skinned women don't play that bullshit. But in other places where there's a large mix of people, where it's Black and white and biracial and all these types of things, you will see that the darker-skinned woman is trying to be overly accommodating to the men and to the biracial female so that she doesn't get seen as a hater. But you can kiss all them women's ass when it comes to something like that, because it's wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's wrong that dark-skinned women have to go through that. But that's a reality. But I also, and I'm gonna be real with you, like when I see dark-skinned women play that soft role, like, and when I say soft, I don't mean soft in regards to femininity, but I mean soft as not having a backbone. When I see dark-skinned women put themselves in that position where you don't stand up, you don't speak up, like, it aggravates me. Where you try to overly compensate by speaking, oh yeah, extremely soft. Like, girl, please be strong in who you are and be confident in that. And if somebody doesn't like that, then the hell with them. But I cannot stand when dark-skinned women intentionally put themselves in an inferior position because they are afraid of somebody saying something to them, because stand up for yourself, please. It just is.
I agree. I agree.
Just a question real quick for Chef down there. Do you want a woman like that?
Like what?
Like what, brother?
That is going to show you that she has a backbone and is ready to get in you if she has to show you that she has a backbone.
I don't. A woman, and this is just for your question purposes. She would never have to do that to me. I don't know any other man, but I've never came across a woman that felt she had to show me her backbone. She was not threatened by anything of me.
Right.
She knew. Does that do anything for you? Does that attract you, Chief? A woman that's extremely outspoken.
If we're going to a debate or we're going to discuss business, absolutely, that's one of the first things that draws me to an individual, especially.
I'm talking about so far as a relationship for you. Is that a quality that you're
No,
looking
what
for?
I'm saying is I answered that part already. I can't give you the answer that you want because
Right.
I've never had to address that. I've never faced that. A woman won't have to show me that
Exactly.
if I'm
Because you're not
dating
gonna
her.
put her in that predicament.
Exactly. Miss J, you've been down there quiet for a minute there.
Yeah. In order, basically on this particular topic, I think there is two different camps. There, dark skinned or black women in general, but especially dark skinned women, they are treated a lot less civil, a lot less polite, a lot less loving than other groups of women. Some of them handle it certain ways. Some of them are going to be like, no, you are going to respect me. I'm a woman. There's nothing wrong or nothing different about me than any other woman. So I demand the same type of respect. And then there's other women who feel the need to show like, oh, okay, I'm not like that. And then go the opposite way. And at the end of the day, those women don't come out ahead. They end up just being still treated like crap, but then they just get overly walked on because people are like, oh, okay, this is a sucker. So I'm going to just go ahead and treat her any kind of way.
I agree.
So it doesn't work out in the end. And that's why you have a lot of women who ended up being aggressive. They have a backbone. They're going to show, hey, up front, you're not going to walk all over me. You're not going to treat me like lesser than.
Okay, I'm gonna drop myself down real quick, and I'm gonna allow Q Savage and Ray to come up here. So you guys will be on your best behavior. I'm gonna be moderating from the outside.
All right, Faith.
Well, I totally understand with what the young lady that just came up and said her piece on that. But again, and that's, she's in somehow, some way, her personality, her person is threatened to where she has to be that way, even if it's towards another woman.
Right.
Because
I'm saying it's not just your personality, it's also your environment, it's your life experiences. That's how all human beings are. But at the end of the day, you have to decide for yourself, however way I'm going to react in this world, is it going to be to my detriment or to my benefit? And I'm just medium brown skin. I'm not dark skin, light skin, whatever. Just a regular black girl. But to me personally, I moderate how I react to other people because I know in this world we're going to have some nonsense. And I just know over the years, for my own mental health, my own physical health, my own sanity, I can't react to the majority of people. Now, other people, they have that type of personality where they don't mind going hard in the paint, and God bless them. We need people like that. We need both sides. But I'm saying for me personally, I just found that for my own sanity, my own mental health, I can't keep going that way with people because it doesn't benefit me overall. I can win a certain small battle, but I'm a wreck. So to me, it's not worth it. But I have a sister where to her, it is worth it. She's going to battle you tooth and nail. And to be honest with you, she seems to get ahead more. She demands that respect. And by golly, people know, don't mess with her. Otherwise, you're going to get it. And she's in a relationship and she doesn't have a problem with that. And she has a family and she gets ahead. So there's no right way or wrong way. It's just basically what you can handle.
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with you to that extent that, you know, if such individuals want to conduct themselves as such and they want to not get walked over and show that they have a backbone and, you know, they're all within their right to do so. I have no problem with that. The only thing I'm saying is that the majority of women that have that type of attitude are not married.
Okay, but are they happier?
I have that type of attitude, and I just want to say, let me just say that I was married for 10 years, and I'm in my second marriage, and I might be looking for my third marriage. I don't know where you get these myths from about being a black woman and having a strong backbone. I don't know where you get that from because your mother probably raised you, and it took a lot for her to do that. Okay, we raised all of these successful men that you see out here today. A black woman and predominantly dark-skinned women are behind them and their success. Okay, and that's why we're strong, because we produce idiots like you who grow up to then turn around and disrespect us. Because at first I was respecting you. I had to go off and really listen to what you say. Very condescending, and you are disrespectful. I'm sorry, deity.
No problem, Queen.
Hello, can I speak?
Yeah.
Oh, hi. Good evening, everybody. My name is Hugh Savage. From Philadelphia. I was just listening to the conversation, and so far I expect everybody's opinion. But this, I mean, what's your definition of what they say like strong? I mean, just strong. Define strong. And can you give yourself like a report card of the successful black men that you say you produce? Would you give yourself what would you give yourself a grade? A, B, C?
Yep, a A.
A?
Are you successful in your life?
Well, actually, yeah. I think I am because for one, for starters, I woke up. Two, I achieved whatever goals that I set for myself, and plus three, I'm perfectly content in my skin.
You consider yourself a righteous man?
That ain't good, Cuddy. You missed it earlier.
Wait a minute. You consider yourself a righteous man?
I'm working on my way to trying to be a righteous human being. Yes.
Do you have God in your life?
Yes, I do.
Who introduced him to you?
Actually, it was by circumstance that I introduced myself to a higher creator.
So your mother never talked to you about the Lord? Your mother never gave you any good guidance? She was just a wicked woman?
No, actually, when it came to my family background, and I grew up in a house with mostly black women. It was that mostly like they only called for God when something was wrong. Then when everything was right, God wasn't even in the picture.
Okay, so all right, that's okay. Next question, like she said. These are Tommy Sotomayor people, and like you said, I'm gonna get frustrated real. Yeah, now I feel you, DT, because I'll get frustrated real, and I don't want to say nothing on Faith Channel because I'm not like that. So I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna mute myself.
Ma'am, I'm not a follower of Tommy Sotomayor. Just average black man with.
Why would you describe the women in your family like that? The fact that you would just, okay. I'm sorry, y'all. Keep the conversation going. I'm just.
You said that my mother introduced you to God. I said,
yeah, because your mother is the person. Your first teacher is your mom, and she instills those values of love and God into you. That's your first teacher, your mom.
No, I'm sorry. What you want me to say?
So what happened if that
can't
didn't
say nothing? That if his mother wasn't there,
yeah,
if his mother wasn't in his life, then I'm sorry for you. But did you have a grandmother or someone in your life?
He described
that was positive as a woman, because he's just going negative. He's they only called on God as soon as something was wrong. But other than that, they had no faith in God at all. So these women are unrighteous, unholy women, and these are the women in your family.
I did not say that. Did I say that? No. Okay.
Yes, you just said that.
I thought he said that the only time that they brought God up was when something was wrong.
What he said.
I thought he said that the only time that God was brought up in his family because he said he was pretty much raised by women, that they only brought up God when something was wrong.
That's right, and that's disrespectful to say that. That's extremely disrespectful, and I'm not going to explain to you why it is.
Please do.
What happened if that's true?
Then that would be a reflection on how he views other black women. That's where he gets that from. Dealing with being raped.
It would be a reflection on how he views other black women if he's telling you that.
Absolutely, because a lot of the times, here's the thing, a lot of the times, and just to be fair, if women have had negative experiences with their fathers, and or if men have had negative experiences with their mother, particularly in the black community, they then tend to take that out on black women or black men.
So basically, what you guys are telling him is just don't talk about it.
I mean, he came in here aggressive with his questions and kind of condescending.
No.
Right. So if that weren't the case, then maybe somebody is just giving you a different perspective on how you came across, and so you could possibly check that and then come back with a better attitude. You know what I mean?
I can do that. I can do that maybe if I could speak.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. And for starters, the lady before you, for example, I did not say none of the females my family was negative in my life. I just said I grew up in a house full of women, so I know the good nature, I know the bad nature. So what's the problem about that?
You said they only called upon God when something was wrong. And
Correct.
I don't believe that, but that was your characterization. So I'm not going to go back and forth over that.
Correct.
I don't know that to be true. So that's you saying that. So
I'm telling you it's true because I lived it.
But you could just have a deep-seated hatred for black women. So, you could just be saying that.
Look, here go the thing, ma'am. Here go the thing. I live in America. How can I hate black women or any type of woman? How would I make money? That don't make no sense. If I'm a real woman hater,
nothing you said made sense at all.
Wait, but hold on. This is what I'm trying to explain to you. If I really hated women that much, that means a real woman hater would not let any type of woman dominate his life in any way, shape, or form, including employment.
I wouldn't come on the internet and describe my family members and especially the women in my family as disrespectfully as you did.
Okay, but at the same time, I can describe the men too. I mean, what's to be the issue?
You're not.
But then maybe you should have did that. Maybe you should have did that.
The issue is, bro, you didn't say you had a job. That's the issue. If you would have said you had a job, you might have had a better chance.
All right, but let's get to the what's the question here? What's going on?
I mean, what's the question? I'm like, what's your definition? I mean, what's your definition of strong? You sitting there saying like somebody's trying to oppress you. You feel like that you got to be strong or this, that, and the third. It don't get you nowhere. But bitterness and loneliness. That's all it pretty much getting you. Or you get a weak ass excuse of a man. It's one or the other.
Right. So you came in here with that question, but you had already had your own answer to it, which means, and it goes back to my point, that you came up here with a slight chip on your shoulder, whether or not you realized it.
Okay.
All right. So just check that. But as far as the next question, now let me ask you a question. As a black man, do you feel where do you feel black women's shortcomings are when it comes to dating? If you feel as though it's equal across the board.
I think honestly it comes to communication. I feel like one of my issues with dealing with some black women is that when I try to communicate, even when I agree with them sometimes, they like to have the habit of over talking and trying then by then if you over talk me, then by me raising my voice, thereby that raise your voice, then some women might say, oh, why you talking over me and why you hollering? So I mainly got issues like over talking, this, that, and the third, communication.
All right, and the Queen Delicate Jewel said, okay, respect. The Queen Delicate Jewel said, do y'all want y'all daughters to be spineless? Answer truthfully, please. And when she says that, I'm assuming that she means, do you want her to be somewhat submissive when dating and dealing with men? So, SMC, what's your question? What's your answer?
I want her to be respectful to all people.
Right, but that wasn't the question.
I don't know what spineless means because spineless, from a biological standpoint, if she was to be spineless,
it's in regards to the topic. But what's this guy's name here?
Then that's why I said respectful.
But what's this guy's? Okay, Chef Disaster. So back to the Queen Delicate Jewel's question. Do y'all want y'all daughters to be spineless? Answer truthfully, please. And when she says spineless, I'm assuming that she means submissive when dealing and dating men.
I absolutely don't want her to be spineless, but that's not up for me. That's not up for me because the way she's gonna look up to her mother and her grandmother, and that's going to give her the representation, a foundation of what kind of woman she should be. So if they're backbone, as you say, then she's more likely probably going to be backbone. If they're spineless, as the lady in the chat is saying, she's more likely going to be spineless.
I'm sorry, Queen. Faith, you asked me to ask a question for somebody. I just now saw it in the private chat.
Yeah, that was because I had made room, but
okay,
jumped off, so now I can go ahead and ask the question myself. But basically, I'm going to move it on to the next segment. Do American black men know how to be good husbands and providers?
And who do you want to answer that? The women or the men?
I want to start off with the men because this question is directed at the men, and this came directly from the chat. Do American black men know how to be good husbands and providers? SKC, can you start that off?
I have my wife here. She obviously says yes.
Okay, but not just you, but I'm talking about as a whole.
Well, I think when you look at blackdemographics.com, seeing that there are over 500,000 more married black men than black women, I think that answers the question.
Okay, so you think that just because black men are well, you guys don't marry more than us, but you're more married than we are, simply because black women are widowed and also the divorce rate is higher. But because based off of you marrying more, you think that you're better husbands and providers?
All I'm saying is that as of 2020, there are more black men that are married than there are of black women. I think that answers the question.
Okay.
And what's the divorce rate?
It really does. I'm sorry, it doesn't answer the question, because the number of married black men does not answer the question of, are you a good husband and provider? Just because somebody gets married does not make them a good husband and provider.
And I think that blackdemographics.com would be a little bit skewed, more skewed towards black people, period, than any other type of stat, right? It will be a little biased towards black people. So that's not a good website.
Actually, all it's using is the U.S. Census statistics. That's it. It actually
but I'm pretty sure that blackdemographics.com is not going to have bad stuff about black people while they got a family as the main picture praying on the screen, a black family at that. But go ahead.
It has a lot of information that gives a very balanced view of black people. It actually shows how black marriage has gone down since the inception of welfare.
And I'm not complaining about black men. I love black men, but I'm just saying you can't just use
and I think
that.
I think Bernard Riley in the chat has even showed that on his channel from blackdemographics.com.
Actually, he didn't debunk anything. I can show you right now where it says right on blackdemographics.com that black women are more married. Well, not more married, but we marry more. Just because black men are more married now does not mean that they marry more than black women. Black women do marry more, but we are not currently the most married. And that's two different things. And Bernard got that mixed up. Like I said, you black men, you are really bad at reading statistics.
These black men, Queen.
Can I just say that that's probably because a lot of black women are trying to enhance their careers also and choosing that path instead?
I
agree. But who else is Q Savage is also on here being very
hi, yeah, I was waiting for y'all to finish talking. Me personally, me growing up in a household with married grandparents, stuff like that, and seeing and seeing what marriage is. And overall, yes, I feel that black men can be good husband providers. Overall, I think so, if given the proper opportunity.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Okay, and then there was another channel, Chef Disaster.
I would have to say, black men definitely know how to be good husbands on a full spectrum. If we're narrowing it down to one spectrum of women, there might be some inconsistencies in that. But as a whole, black men are very, very good husbands. And as far as being providers, I think if we have the opportunities, yes, we would be great providers. If we had the opportunities, So yes, we and to be a good husband, you have to be home. The jobs that black men get do not, put a strain on their schedule, so they're more likely to be home with their wives, with their families, and that's a big part of being a good husband.
Okay, so now if I'm hearing from all of the men that you all believe that black men could be good husbands. Okay, but here's the deal. Why aren't black men marrying more? Why aren't you guys marrying?
I mean, can I answer that first?
Sure.
I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I feel like that honestly, I feel like if I get married, for example, I feel like I won't be respected. I'll be looked at as a beast of burden, not as a human being. And in that provider role, I have no problem providing food, clothing, and shelter and provisions for me and my family. That's no issue. But the problem is, I just want to respect as a human being, just cause.
Okay, we didn't hear you because you were buffering.
Oh, you did. What did you not hear?
Okay, I didn't hear any of that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I feel like this. I said, I see me personally. I sit there and say that me personally, I did I feel like I wanted like to get married, but right now I feel like marriage is not an option because I honestly feel like if the person I do get married, I'm not saying all women, but I feel like it's a possibility that I might be taken advantage of, being used as a beast of burden and not respected as a human being. That's it.
Okay. All right, ladies, what do you have to say about it? What do you think?
If the queen want to go first, she can, or if she want me to go. But I'll go ahead.
I'll go first. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, because I'm gonna be brief, dear to you, long-winded. So I'm gonna right. But no, I just wanted to say that a different era for me. Like my grandfather, rest in peace. That era of a man was a more responsible husband or whatever. They went to work, they came home, they did things with the family. Today's black men, to me, is they have so much on the table. Everybody's twerking everywhere. Everybody's willing to just do anything. You have a lot of men who are transitioning and keeping it quiet. So I just think it's a little harder now with so many options for black men for them to be a better husband. I think it takes a stronger black man to be a good husband today.
All right. And me, I do believe that black men can be good husbands and providers. I do think, however, that there are multiple factors that play a part in that, multiple, which I can't probably speak on. But such as just choosing the right man is the first start, as well as that man being equipped before he gets with a woman. Because we could bypass a lot of garbage men if we knew how to choose right. You know what I mean? So that we don't become scorned black women and start talking about all these black men ain't shit. You know, so yeah, I do believe that they can be good husbands and providers.
Okay, now I'm going to go ahead since I'm the third woman on the panel. I'm going to say no, and here's why. You know, in listening to Nancy from that live stream, and she was talking about the contrast between the men in her country and the men in our country, and how the men in her country were raised from little boys to know what their responsibilities are as a man, and how the American black men come over to her country and don't seem to have a clue what to do with women, especially women from her country who were raised to be these submissive wives and mothers. So I don't think that they have the skills. So I'm going to have to say no.
Dang, that's deep.
I can honestly sit there and say, like, when it comes to African women, they learn to train to be wives around the same age around the men are trained to be husbands. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, you know, I was actually gonna I didn't know she was coming at it from the perspective of the larger group. I thought she was just talking about individuals, but as a whole, yeah, I mean, I don't think that the prognosis looks well for Black America. I think that number of marriages is going to continue to go down further and further. And I think the reason behind that is because on both sides, there is a subculture that is anti-family on both sides.
Right, but can I ask you a question, SKC? Is your woman black?
No.
Right.
That was a good point, SKT. Great point, man.
Wow.
So being that she isn't black, then that would mean that what you're partaking in is anti-black family, which we're talking about right now, right?
Which is already on the decline and has been on the decline for the last 65 years.
So that means that you're a part of the problem, or you're
No, it actually means that I sought out a way to build a strong family outside of the downfall.
So you think
He's a
that black
result of the
women are a
problem.
downfall?
Could I just say something? Can I just say one thing? Why is it, I'm not against people choosing to interracially date, but why is it that people who choose, especially black men, they choose to go outside of their relationship, build relationships? That's fine. But they have to be the ones that come back to the black community to dictate to us how our relationship, what it looks like. Oh, the forecast is bad. Who are you to do that? You went to the other side. Just go over there. Why are you here critiquing us? You're not really invested in the black community because you went outside. So you're just here to throw in your, racist talking points or, your girlfriend's talking points.
No, I'm actually sitting right there next to him here, and she hears him criticizing or critiquing black women. But have you joined Asian panels with Asian women and spoke to them about how you feel that their behavior affects your life? Because I mean, essentially, you're not dealing with black women; you're dealing with a non-black woman, which is an Asian woman. So why would you not deal with that culture?
Actually, Deity, next month, I'm actually having a panel discussion with a few.
We're not talking about in the near future. We're talking about why haven't you been doing that, and why are you here now discussing with black women about black women's behaviors
That's
and
what
how
I've
black
been
women
saying
view black
to
men
you
when
right
we're not
now.
dating you.
That's what I've been saying to you right now while you're over speaking me, is that I have already set that up because of having previous discussions with them for a very long time.
Well,
and
you didn't start with that.
Is another instance of why it is such a difficult prospect just to have a open and honest conversation with some black women, is because they want to already have 3 or 4 things in mind to say to you without even listening to you fully out.
You didn't answer the question, but my thing is this: why would you need to talk to women?
You automatically know it
because we recognize the bullshit up front,
right? And
why
our
would patience is thin,
right? And why would you need to talk to black women with your Asian wife sitting right there? Is that not disrespectful?
How is that disrespectful?
Because you're sitting here discussing with women, black women particularly, how they feel about black men. Are you not a black man? Should you not be focused on your Asian doll, or if it's a real woman? I don't know. But should you not be focused on her as opposed to focusing on us and how we feel? Or are you just not that happy in your situation? I mean, I don't understand.
I'm a journalist.
Child, please. But who is this next person?
Who's Sway? Sway? Is that you, Sway? Sound like Sway.
As I said, I'm a journalist. Actually, there was a guy in the chat earlier, the exposing the manosphere guy. I think that's like Aaron Fountain Jr. And I wrote an article in response to him. And I've written several articles on various topics within family, marriage, all sorts, the whole gambit.
You didn't get paid for it. That was something that you chose to do to pass the time.
I did get paid for it.
That was something that you chose to do to pass the time of day. I mean, people pick up hobbies all the time, but my thing is,
I did get paid.
Why don't you go ahead and write articles?
And again, here it is, the over talking and trying to tell me what my.
I'm gonna keep over talking you because you're not making any sense.
I understand what it is.
Thank you, DT.
All right, come on. So why instead of having to deal with me, go deal with your wife, since you don't have one that's over talking you and that's combative and aggressive and all of these negative stereotypes? Why do you stay here? Why do you stay here? You're not wanted.
and I'm not. All of this is journalism for me.
All right, who's the next person on here?
You're a case study.
Hi, Cynthia.
You're the true case study. You're sick because you want to force yourself to be in spaces where you're not wanted. You really don't want to be here. You're just here to agitate, and I can't stand people like you. Because if somebody's trying to have a productive conversation, why would you come on so you could just spew negative stuff the whole time?
I actually don't want to agitate. I really wanted to get a different opinion from the ladies here. But I think in most of my interactions here, I haven't had any problem with.
That's why SBM, just because you want to talk real proper,
has been deity going back and forth with me for no reason.
No, here's the thing. Just because you talk a little proper or whatnot, you think that most black people are just that ignorant and have that low of self-esteem that they'll go ahead and fall for that bullshit. But SKC, I can get on your level and higher than. So you ain't talking to no ignorant black woman. Okay? Next person.
Oh, of course not. You're Howard trained.
I wanted to speak to the man that said that he wasn't married because he didn't want to be seen as a beast of burden. What the WTF? What is that in this world? Almost every person works. When you come into a relationship, you 9 times out of 10 going into a relationship with somebody working. I don't know no non-working people. So does he have a problem getting in a relationship with another working person? It's like, you got to work to take care of you. The average
At least he was honest.
income is under like $53,000 or something. It was somewhere around there, $48,000 of what people make. So let's just say we doing the bare minimum. I'm making $40,000 a year. You making $40,000 a year. We coming together. We making $80,000 a year. Not the most. I'm not living luxury, but we're maintaining and we're surviving. And hopefully we will inspire each other to go to another, take it and do more. But it's like, you don't want to be a beast of burden. Everybody got to work. And because you're in a relationship now with somebody, the thing that you were already doing anyway, you're now being viewed as a beast of burden. You had to do that anyway. It's just crazy. And I was like, wow. So we in a position where you just basically saying you don't want to work.
I think he dropped off. Is he still there?
Gentleman said,
yeah, no, he dropped off.
He had a problem with working. I think he was.
That's what he said.
No, I didn't hear that.
He said he didn't want to be viewed as a beast of burden. I don't know what a beast of burden is, but he has to work to support him. So now pretend me and him are dating. Now all of a sudden he's being viewed as a beast of burden when you was doing what you were doing anyway. And if you wasn't working, shame on him.
Well, I don't think, again, that the idea of not having a job or not working I think the idea is having a job, supporting the family, and not being appreciated and being treated as a beast of burden.
I have to work regardless if anybody appreciates me or not, because I have to feed myself regardless if you're in a relationship with another person or not. So now you got he has this crazy outlook that the thing he was doing before to support himself, I hope he's now being viewed as a beast of burden.
No, again, I don't think it has anything to do with being so far as the job. It's the whole idea is in a relationship, a committed relationship, even though you're doing the things that you normally do as adults, doesn't mean that you can't appreciate one another.
You said it right, sister. He admitted that he was financially insecure.
Okay. Wow. Oh, my people. I guess. But yeah, I was
also thinking, when you happy when other men happy with dating other races, be happy. Like the young lady said, just be happy. Why you got to come and tell if you so happy? it's like when kids got some candy. Oh, look what I got over here. You can't have any. And you like, I don't even eat that. I don't want none anyway.
Okay.
So go on, take your candy, go in the corner and eat it.
Well, no, I haven't, tossed any candy towards anyone or said
Come
this or
on
that
now. She
about
was
my
metaphorically speaking.
my
Get
own
on it.
relationship. The only thing that I've been doing is trying to have a conversation and like take notes for future articles and things that I'll have,
You're
when
a
I go.
sociopath.
Oh, okay.
And a little
But
bored too.
it does pay bills though.
I doubt it. So I guess she one of those beasts of burdens. Cause you ain't got no job if this what you claiming that you doing.
I'm gonna click out of here for a minute till I get in my car, cause this beast of burden getting ready to go to work. Cause I don't want nobody viewing me as a taker. So I'm getting ready to get in my car, and I'm gonna click back on when I get in my car and I get my things together. But yeah, I'm a beast of burden. I gotta go work.
Congratulations, you're human.
Faith, would you like me to drop off so somebody else can come on? Oh, she not up here?
I think she had a question.
Oh, let me try. I'm gonna drop off.
I think she wanted Deity to pose that question that she has.
Oh, okay. So to the fellas on here and to the ladies on here, does working make it harder for Black women to be submissive?
Yeah, if the man isn't working, yes. Because
So
you're out 40 hours a week, yeah.
Okay, and what if the man is working?
Then if he's working, no, because there's a balance.
Respect.
But when you're taking on the burden and responsibility of having to pay all those bills by yourself, all the worries is on your shoulders. So I'm not saying that you don't love him and that you can't be submissive to him, but there are times you're gonna be like, shut up. Yeah, you're gonna be like that.
Okay. SKC,
right?
What's your take?
Does working make it harder for Black women to be submissive? I have no idea. I can answer that. I don't even understand how that would even be a question.
All right, and who's the person that said they could answer it? Go ahead.
Q Savage. I can answer that. Pretty much, yeah. Just for the simple fact is that you gotta think about it. The average body, you working, is that and the third, just the average stress of just dealing with the work environment. Then you come home dealing with a home environment. Your body tired and stuff like that, you gotta unwind. So yes, I feel like just not dealing with the home situation, just dealing with the outside situation. You come home dealing with the home situation, yeah, it could be a little stressful. Just by dealing with it ain't got nothing to do, it probably had nothing to do with the home, probably got something to do at work.
All right, and Chef Disaster, what's your take on it?
My take on it would be no, you know what I mean? Because for the sake of conversation, like submissive, if she wants to just tell me to shut up and stuff like that, she can do that anyway, regardless of whatever it is. And just to lose a certain feeling that you've been getting the whole time. Or if she's been working, I don't know what the situation would be, but if she just starts working while we're in the relationship, then I can see something being a little bit different because, her mood swings. We all have jobs, so we know what jobs make us feel like. So if you're not caring enough to understand that and automatically be ready for your partner when something needs to be addressed, then, that's a discussion you need to have within that relationship, because it shouldn't take away from, the relationship because she's working.
And so my take is it can, but I think it's case by case basis. And I think especially if the woman is working in a predominantly white environment and she's making a lot of money, in most of those cases, she won't be dealing with the Black man that's probably making as much as she is. And if she is dealing with someone at all who's making less than her, him being a Black man, again, her working in a predominantly white environment, she can become frustrated with that man because she's dealing with someone who's paying her, and here's this black man who ain't really, you know, able to provide for her in that way. So it can. But if in the case she's working like a minimum wage job and he's working a minimum wage job, they could more than likely make that work. So it depends on the socioeconomical status of those people.
Well,
Because
can I say something to that real quick? Can I say something to that? I mean, you make a great point, and I'm just gonna piggyback off of that. If that woman is making the bulk of the money and there's a time strain on her, and I'm not working and I'm home, then when she gets home, I will be ready for her. I will be ready for my queen. Word up.
Yeah. But I think when a black woman either makes a certain amount of money or comes from a family that has provided a certain lifestyle, it's kind of hard to downgrade from that. And then if she has to bring that man around that environment, that's something that she thinks about.
Right, and that was my point earlier.
Yeah, now that point will make sense in this particular topic.
Like my situation, like me and my child's mother. Now she's a police officer. Now she make about $90K a year. Now I make maybe like 30 grand less than her, and we always beefing. And it's pretty much the beefing for the fact that like she always bragging about her pension, this, that, and the third, and that's why we can't get along.
Right.
And that's why we're not together. Because she always brag, my pension. Half of the time we can't have a decent conversation because she always brag about money, but yet she never talk about no stock tips, nothing about the Wall Street Journal. Always bragging about money though.
And that's where the disadvantages of the black man really shows in most cases is his pocket, specifically if the black woman has elevated outside of a low income status or she never came from a low income status.
I mean, now her background is that she came from a low income status out of the foster system, made well for herself. I give her kudos for that. But at the same time, you don't brag. I don't care at the end of the day because I still have my own. When you met me, food, clothing, and shelter, I was providing for my own. Never asked for anything.
But
never
now,
bragged about my accomplishments.
I have a question for you because that's interesting that you brought that up. In your situation, in your scenario, that she makes more money than you, and you feel like she's always braggadocious about her accomplishments. How does that make you feel?
I mean, but the problem make me feel is that personally, I don't care about. I care about accomplishment because that's something important to her. But when she blatant disrespect me, that's what gets me upset. When you blatant disrespect me.
But now, if she's bragging about her accomplishments, do you think maybe she might look up to you more if you accomplish more yourself?
I mean, for the simple fact is like, for one, is that I feel like I'm very accomplished. I'm doing what I want to do, which is an interior painter. Got my own business, and I take care of myself. That's because that's something I wanted to do.
That doesn't sound like a healthy relationship. That sounds like a competition.
I mean, pretty much that's what it pretty much sounds like. Because you gotta deal with she deal with a whole bunch of men, so she bring that masculine energy. So sometimes she may treat me as her own, as a partner. Sometimes she treat me as a suspect. So I ain't got no time for that.
Yeah, and then you got.
But she's probably doing what a lot of people who have money do, which is they use their money and their status to lord it over people who don't have as much. They're not necessarily a black woman thing. People who make money do that. They're kind of assholes that way. I'm not saying what she did is right. I'm not saying what she did is right.
But that is not the formula for having a healthy relationship.
Plus, not to mention, she says some black feministic values, very hardcore black feministic values. So,
but I'm saying she could feel like she had. I'm saying it could be that she has lower self-esteem issues, and the way to go ahead and strike out at that is to go ahead and use that. Which, to me, yeah, you're not going to have a healthy relationship if you do that to anybody. It don't matter if it's romantic or not. If you treat someone like that, they're not going to want to stay with you. That's common sense 101. But some people, when they're hurt and they have low self-esteem issues, they kind of use whatever they can to kind of lord it over someone to see, like, say, hey, I'm not this, whatever you think I am. I have this. And it's stupid, but that's what people do.
But at the end of the day, like, perfect example, like, it's rioting going on in Philly right about now, and it's the curfew at 6 o'clock. Now, I just texted her, like, please be careful out there, because I know she's about to go out there on shift. I mean, stuff like that. Just last week, we just arguing about some dumb shit. So, I mean, it is what it is. As long as I pay that
it's a
child
dysfunctional
support, she
relationship.
don't care.
I
Pretty much, as long as she get that child support, she don't care.
I think that what ends up happening is that when Black women get in those particular spaces, they become frustrated with Black men who they may have at one point admired. If that Black man isn't making a certain level of money, it's almost like you're a burden. Like, you're just like get away from me.
But here go the thing. How I'm a burden? I'm not depending on you on anything. That's the thing. I'm not depending on you on nothing.
Right, but she has surpassed you.
Right.
And
But
so
at the same time, I was good enough for bed. How come I'm not good enough to be a partner now? That don't make no sense. If I'm good enough for a penis, come on now.
You know what I'm saying? But from everything that you're explaining about her, it sounds like she just has some emotional issues she needs to deal with, and not necessarily about you.
Yeah, pretty much. She's a narcissist. I can stand there and admit that she's a
No,
wonderful
but I mean,
mother.
you
She's
also
just a
mentioned that she
narcissist.
was a foster child, and they have a whole separate group of long-term issues. So I'm just saying it's.
I don't know. I think it could also be that because she has surpassed you financially and, she's achieved quite a bit in her life, I think she is looking at you and wanting you to also get on that level. I could be
I'm
wrong.
saying people like that, even if she got with someone who had more, she has her own issues.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm saying
even the
everything, but I'm saying everything is not about economics.
But
sometimes people just have.
Was she acting funny before she leveled up? That's how you would kind of be able to pinpoint where it stems from. Did she act like this before she got to where she got financially?
No. So honestly, for the simple fact is like soon as she got pregnant, that's she started questioning like I made a mistake.
But when she was pregnant, was she in her financial state that she's in now?
I mean, well, pretty much when I first met her, she was suspended. She was suspended for insubordination when I first met her.
But the question is, the question is, did she change up how she acted towards you when she at the point of receiving the money that she's receiving?
Oh yeah. She
all right, so
real
then
funny.
You know that it's financial. So it's financial. It's a turn off that you're not there. Like you're not financially at that level. And she's now dealing and around men and people that are at that level, and you would be considered an embarrassment or a burden to her.
So here's a quick question then. Let's say if the guy that's speaking, let's say he went out and created a business and became a millionaire. Would then he have in his right to say, you know what? She ain't worth it because she ain't on my level?
That's a common sense question. Yes, he would have that within his right. Now, would he do it?
No,
There's
I'm saying,
a difference
would he be right to do that?
You initially stated would he be within his right, and would he be right? That's a moral.
Right to do that.
That's a morality issue. So
what do you ladies think?
Okay,
it depends.
I mean, me personally, if you have a combined income where you guys can go ahead and live a comfortable life, you shouldn't be having those kind of situations.
And like Ray said, if Shetty isn't trying to build, then yes, he would be right to keep it moving on her. But if she's trying to build, then morally speaking, then it might be a little bit messed up. But it's
but honestly, for the fact, but here's the thing: she's not trying to build. Okay, she's not trying to build. Okay,
but see, you
it's
also
about
have to
control.
understand something as well, that men are usually the providers, and they don't mind building a woman up because that
so it makes sense for her to be that way, but not him.
SKC, if you're not being able to comprehend what's being said, or if you want to try to flip the question, then don't ask them. But if you want an answer, let people answer and stop trying to flip it. Do you understand? Now, I gave you the answer. Now just keep it moving with somebody else, and they can answer.
It makes sense for the man. So as long as the man is making the most money, he's supposed to stay within it and just be like, oh, okay, it doesn't matter that she's not on my level. We build it. But if he's
you're right, bro. Exactly. That's what we're supposed to do.
Nobody said that. Are you people slow?
But it's against a woman's nature, basically, because what we have to look at is, okay, if I'm the one providing everything, then you're putting me in that masculine energy. So I can't really look up to you.
But here go the thing. But here go the thing, Faith. Here go the thing. I had my own before I met her, and she maintained my own when I met her. She ain't got to provide anything. Okay, but when it comes to my child, I do my part at the end. When we was together, I gave her what she needed. But even though I made more, even though she made more than me, I still gave her because what I learned from the streets is that it ain't how much you make, it's how much you keep. And she got a problem with managing money. So it is what it is. Just because you make 90 doesn't mean you know how to keep 90.
Well, that ain't how she feel. That's why she left. And I mean,
right, and I'm gonna drop down and let Cynthia back up. Hold on.
But are we talking about submission or overall respect? Because those can actually be two different things.
I just think
but I'm saying you can be respectful of someone and also not being necessarily submissive. You can also be disrespectful and listen to everything they say. You can just be disrespectful. That happens all the time. So I think we're kind of confusing the two. To me, it just sounds like she's hella disrespectful.
It just sounds like she don't want to be with the man. Bottom line, and if she's not with you, if she's not with you, then she's not being disrespectful or respectful because she's chosen to remove herself from around this man. That's it.
No, I'm saying you can break up with someone and still be respectful about it.
Yeah.
It just sounds like she's being disrespectful. It's not about her money or anything like that or being submissive. She's just disrespectful. Some people are like that.
But he said
it got nothing to do with their gender or their race. They're just disrespectful.
No, but nobody said anything about that. But he said, and that's why I specifically asked, did it change? Did she change when finances got involved, when her finances increased? And he said yes.
But I'm saying you can still be disrespectful and it had nothing to do with submission. I'm saying there was two different things that were going on.
I know. That's telling more about.
But I'm just saying there was two different things that were going on.
That's talking about more of her personality and who she is as a person. Because if she doesn't want to be with the guy, she doesn't have to disrespect him. She could just certainly say, "This isn't working out. I have some reservations, and I want to do something different. I liked it while it was going on or whatnot." But
the question is, have you moved on? Have you moved on and found somebody else? I mean, because to linger on.
But here go the things like this. It's like we had a child involved. Okay.
Okay.
Just for the simple fact that there's a child involved. There's issues about that. So that's the whole issue. It ain't about us being together because she. It's about us co-parenting our son together.
I can't.
That's why I would say is there a child involved, because I still think there has to be a level of respect. Period.
Thank you. It's like disrespect everybody. Period.
Yeah, but in regards to your, go ahead.
I have two things. The man posed the question that if this man was to create a business and he left, would that be okay? If you stayed there when you didn't have no money, why, if he got some money, would he leave? That would kind of imply that he was staying there for the benefits of the extra money.
And that would be the same thing for her.
But he can leave now. But why would that be an issue? Just leave. You're not being respected. Leave. He says he makes 60, she makes 90. He's more than capable of financially, and he did, because he said they're not together. But also, if you have a child and it's that level of disrespect as a man, you shouldn't, whether you got a son or a daughter, let your child grow up seeing that disrespect. So leaving would be the appropriate thing, because if you got a daughter, she's not going to have a high opinion of men. And if you got a son, you're a bad example of what a man is to us. Anybody to stay there and be subjected to that type of abuse.
Exactly. Like, just move on.
Wow.
But we were talking about the financial aspect of it. I don't know how we keep. So in regards
here go the thing. The financial aspect was for the simple fact is that she chose to leave for whatever reason. She get fined. I don't care. That's your life. I don't care, because regardless of the fact, I didn't need you financially in the beginning. Didn't need you financially during, and don't need you financially after. Go on, take your money, live your life. Go ahead. Who cares?
And she did.
So it didn't.
Exactly.
Okay, well, kudos to her.
Just like the lady that just came in, it didn't make sense for her to even get with him in the first place. If she already knew from the jump, I'm making more money than him, why are you going to throw it up in his face now? That's the same man that you got with at the beginning.
What are you talking about?
Oh.
SKC, you can't run the bullshit over me. What are you?
The dude said that she was making that money when he met her.
No, he didn't. He said that. Are you talking about the same guy that's been talking this whole time?
Yes.
I thought he said that. I thought you said that the lady, once she got to that point, that's when she left you alone.
No, she made that money when I first met her.
See,
oh, child, please. Child, please. That's
I
how
was saying. That's what I was saying. It sounds like she's just disrespectful. It's not about money. Sometimes it's about money and status, but she's just disrespectful. And you got to move on with people like that. You're never going to make enough money for someone like that. They're just rude.
Right, and that's what I was saying.
Thank you, man. Thank you. That's all. Thank you. I appreciate the advice.
I'm glad you got your therapy out. Okay.
He knew who he was. She chose to be with him. And then, even though she knew that she was making more money from the very beginning, then later she started throwing it in his face. That's just a messed up personality.
But Cynthia, let me ask you, because we stand on the same thing. I mean, do you think that working makes it harder for Black women to be submissive?
I don't think so. That has to do with the caliber of person you with. When I gotta make that, and he made less money than me, and I shouldn't have been with him. And do I look back now at 45 years old and say, girl, you was just a damn fool to be with him, but I got kids with him. At some level, I chose him. But the first thing when we used to argue, and I got a whole associate degree, so I ain't up there with no level of PhD-dom and none of that. But the first thing he would say, oh, Miss College graduate, even though I never discussed if I made more money than him or not. And right here, volunteer, this what life experience teach you. I thought I could take somebody, oh, he didn't come from a home where he had exposure to education, and he was always driving, didn't even have a job. I might say, you know what, go to truck driving school, you like to drive.
Trying to build them up.
Trying to build them up, but you can't have dreams or people that they don't have or visions they don't have for themselves. So I did my piece. Would I do it now at 45 years old? What I did at 22 or 23? No. But life experience taught me that, yes, I chose him. And every day I regret it, but that don't mean I had to stay there and wallow in what he was doing with him. It's called growth. But I never held my whole associate degree over him, but that was his issue, and he projected it onto me. And it will always be, every time we talk, Miss College graduate, Miss College graduate.
Yeah, he was insecure.
I don't make a lot of money. I make above. I'm just a nurse, and I don't even work 2 jobs no more. When I had kids to raise, I worked 2 jobs, and I did that. If I'm making 70 and you bringing in 50, we making 120, and we can obtain some things. I'm not finna sit there, because the reality is, whether me making my 70 and you making your 50, we can still save and invest and do things. Because guess what? We ain't paying 2 rents, ain't paying 2 light bills, ain't paying 2 this. So we can grow. I don't have to make exactly the same thing, and I don't got a problem with a man making less than me. I ain't no millionaire, and I ain't trying. I'm just trying to be comfortable and have basic insurance.
All right, Queen. So I know that's right. So the next question is, if Black women are the most educated and financially secure, should she help her man get to her level? Cynthia, you want to go with that first?
You can support somebody with their dream. You can encourage them. You're not going to do the work for them. But if you got to come up with the whole dream, drag them along the way and do that, no. Because at 45 years old, you should have a plan, and you should be in the process of doing something. And if you're not, you ain't got time to be dating no woman or nothing else. You need to focus on all that energy over there, getting yourself to that point.
Exactly. Is there another woman on the panel?
But also, if you have to do that for someone, they can also not see you so much as a partner as a mother. And you want someone to still think of you as a wife and a partner, not a mommy. Because they're going to resent that. They're going to act out, and you're going to have a lot of problems in your relationship.
And
but I'm saying someone can have a low income, but they can have a high work ethic They can have a high, ambition, and you can work with someone like that. But someone who is comfortable being in a lower socioeconomic status and they don't really want to move out of it, you can't really do anything with someone like that.
But let me ask y'all
Man
a
or
quick
woman.
question to add to it. Do y'all think that age matters? Do you think if you're in your 20s and he's in his 20s and you probably got more, you could work with him as opposed to if y'all are in your 40s and 50s?
Well, 20s is where it starts. When they're 40s and 50s, it's already a wrap.
Right. Okay.
So if they're not doing it in their 20s, chances are they're not going to do it in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. You have to start younger.
Right.
That's where you start. You don't start when you're 40s. That's our problem. We start too late and it doesn't work out. You have to start in your 20s. They have to show you that in their 20s.
Chef
Not talk.
Chef
talk,
what's
show.
your take on it?
Yes, Diddy. My take on it is that I don't think, me personally, I don't think that a man should want to take advice from his woman as far as that. I mean, if she does it, she does it. But that depends on that woman's masculinity appetite. Because for most women that I've been in situations with, they look for what I do as part of my masculinity, or how I got there, or how I got the car, how I got the house, how I'm sustaining this. If she had a part of that, I sort of lose that edge. You know what I'm saying? But if we were in a situation, we came in and I was, the nigga, I had that swag, and then something happened while we were in that, and she had to give me that advice, I would gladly take that, because at that point we should be, dependent on each other. Like I gotta have income. So if you can help me, then that would be something, favorable for us.
That's a good point. And what's the guy, the king that's underneath you? What's his name?
Oh, I don't know. Swag,
Hello?
swag.
Yeah. So what's your take on if Black women are most educated and financially secure, should she help her man get to her level?
I mean, if she got that, I mean, she more educated. Her whole idea as a woman is to educate people. So if she can give a few pointers to her man to help save money, then so be it. Because I'm all about saving a dollar. If you can help me save $1, I'm with you. I mean, otherwise, I don't mind. I don't care. Me personally. But nine times out of 10, I'll try to learn on my own how to more financial intelligence on my own right.
Okay, and SKC, what's your point?
I don't know why she's choosing a man that's not at her level, and if she
I'm a whole
already
45 years old now. What I was talking about was in my 20s.
and if she already
he ain't
has,
talking about you, Queen. Go ahead.
and if she already has kids, I think that she should help her kids get to that educated and financial level. Because right now, in America, you have a large contingent of young Black boys that grow up in single mother households that can't even read at basic level.
All right, perfect. And what I honestly feel is it depends on the person, and it depends on the two people that's involved. I mean, in some cases you can make it work, in others you can't. So it's case by case basis. The next question is, if you're living with someone, you should work as, or I guess that's a statement, you should work as a team. And yeah, you should. You should definitely work as a team. I do think that age plays a part in that particular question, because if you're in a young age bracket, then I think that people would assume that you have more time to grow and more opportunities when you're younger as opposed to when you're older. And you're kind of setting your ways when you're older. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's a good point, Diddy. For real.
But I also hear people say, I've read in social media and different things, them saying, well, Black women should do this. They should be more supportive and this and that. I know my first job when I was 16 at Burger King. And my mama didn't take me up there to fill out that job application. I walked, filled out the application, went to my own job interview. When it came time to go to the whole community college I went to, my mama didn't fill out my 9-page question questionnaire. I did. So I think that as women, we have been tasked on some ends with pulling Black men up or doing it. But we've always done this stuff for ourselves. And I have 3 sons. And they're like, Mo, you gonna take me? No, I'm not taking you to fill out no job application. You better go online and fill it out yourself. If I could do it at 16. Now, if you have any questions, I'm gonna sit here. I'll be here to answer them. But you can't pull it along, and we can't coddle them. And then when we do come that strong, I'm your mama, and now you resent me and you're cheating on me because your penis is your only power.
Yeah, but that's what you're talking about is the difference between helping someone and doing it for them. Like, you do stuff for babies because they can't do for themselves. You can help an adult, and you have to know the difference. Like, what you're describing is basically they want you to do it for them. Like you're saying, that's not healthy to do. We need to stop doing that for kids when they're age 7.
All right, so check this. The next question is,
how did it go from mother to you're cheating on them?
Because in order for them to show some sense of power, they decide to actually cheat on you. To basically humiliate you and bring your ego down, so forth.
How can your son cheat on you?
She's talking about relationships. You're dating someone and you treat. No, I'm saying I'm saying what she's talking about. She tried helping the baby's father, whether the husband or the boyfriend. She tried helping him, doing things for him like a mother would do for a child. Like a mother would do for a child, and it did not work. So she's saying she learned that and decided not to do that for her sons. She's going to have them do it themselves, not her doing it for them. She's not going to mother them that way because they're old enough, which is the right way to do for children. As they age, you got to treat them older and not baby and coddle them. That's what she was talking about.
Okay.
All right. I'm back, guys. Great conversation. One last question for the panel. I want to welcome April onto the panel. April, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Did you want to add something before I go to the next segment?
Nah, I'll just wait.
Okay. Well, the next segment is, should younger women marry older?
Well, define how much older. Between the 7 to 10 year age limit, or are you talking about 15, 20, 25 older?
I'm talking about 10 years or more.
I think that one of the reasons why we have to be really careful in, women dating. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I think one of the main reasons why we have to be really careful in the Black community of younger women dating older men, because we do have to acknowledge that we have something called narcissists in the Black community, preferably among Black men. And so in aiding younger women to date older Black men, I don't think that that's okay, depending on if her level of maturity is not there to be able to seek out and to see this kind of mentally ill disorder in a man, to know if he's suitable, and if somebody in the community, like an elder over him, is holding him accountable to be able to date someone that young. So we kind of have to inspect and kind of seek out to see what is his motive, and then what elder is over him holding him accountable while she's dating him. So that's my opinion.
Okay.
Well, my opinion, if she's in her 20s and 30s, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, because you're not necessarily going to be a partner. You might end up being a caregiver, basically a glorified CNA earlier than you should be. So you have to really, you got to really be careful about that, because that's the part no one talk about. You can have a good 5 to 7 years, and the next thing you know, you're a nursing home assistant.
Exactly.
Yeah, I actually can't speak to that. I'm presently in my second marriage. My first marriage, there was a dramatic age difference. It probably was an inappropriate relationship. But one thing you cannot do is marry your father. And a lot of times, the person I am at 18, I'm going to grow. I'm going to evolve. And he literally had told me, and I don't even think he was aware of it, I got you because I thought you weren't set in your ways.
Mm-hmm.
And as you grow, if the person's gonna not allow you to grow, be comfortable with your growth. And so my present husband is 9 years older than me, but it's two totally different relationships. It was a relationship of equals, two people, two adults having their own thing, their own lives, their own careers coming together, as opposed to an 18-year-old girl basically going from my mama house to my husband,
To your
daddy house.
grandmama's house. Yeah,
He
your
was
grandpa's
32,
house.
he was 32 and
Right.
I was 15. Yeah. So that's what it was. Was he physically abusive? No. But it was not a relationship of equals.
Mm-hmm.
Chef Disaster?
Yes, Faith, I'm here. I am not a narcissist, nor do I advocate for any narcissist. But I do not appreciate putting black men in a box of being narcissists, older black men at that. Just to start off with that. No
Well,
shade
first of
though.
I didn't put anybody in the box. I'm just saying, first of all, in order for Black people to heal, we have to be able to get to the problems. Okay, I didn't put
That's not the
anybody in the
problem.
box.
That's
I'm
not a
just saying.
black person.
I'm just
That's
wait.
not a
That
black
was
person's
my
problem.
opinion. That was my opinion. But I'm just letting you know that
And
does
those things
exist,
you have to be
and those
careful
kind of
with.
men do prey on younger Black women.
Yeah, it's just not black men though. Okay, so I don't want to
But
argue about it.
but there narcissistic Black men are high in the Black community. That's the reality. That ain't no made up anything. That's actually a statistic. We do have Black men preying on Black women. That doesn't take anything away from you that you're that. I'm just saying it exists.
That's cool. I think a younger woman should absolutely look for an older man. So if we're starting at the older man being 40, he should look for a woman downwards, down to her mid 30s to 30s. You know what I mean? Just for the contrast of things.
Okay, well, why so young?
Why so young?
Yeah,
If you can say 50, huh?
I said just for the contrast, but why so young? Why would an older man in his 40s want somebody that young? Because in a few years, you're going to be entering an age where your body's going to be changing. You're going to be on two totally different levels, physically, sexually, and then also you guys won't even have a whole lot in common.
That's cool.
Says
Who's
who?
moving around in the background?
I don't know who that is.
Someone needs to leave their mic.
No, that's Chef Disaster.
Are you like outside in the car or something, or trying to get in the car?
Huh?
That's not me because my mic is
maybe I
muted.
go and get it. I ain't got because I ain't sleep and get up to come to work.
Okay, I'm saying just mute your mic because we can hear you moving around.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Chef Disaster. I'm sorry.
Nah, you're okay, Faith. There's much respect on the panel. I say young because what you think that they don't have in common, I feel like those are the things that they do have in common.
The numbers are high.
Like me, huh? Me as a man, I do feel like I want somebody that's like, looking towards me for the answer type feeling. So
you want younger because she's more younger and doesn't know a lot. She's a little bit more naive.
You can, if that's what you want to call it, because that puts it in a bad way. But yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
But I thought, but let's understand. You were saying if you're in your 40s looking for someone in their 30s.
I said mid 35 to 30s. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean that's kind of understandable. I don't think someone in their 40s should be dating nobody in their 20s. But 30s, that's not a big difference.
Right.
You're still relatively more or less in the same generation, so that's okay. And a guy wanting to be looked up to, that's normal. That's not a bad thing. Now you're looking to take advantage of someone's completely different, but if you want to be protective of someone, I mean that's normal.
Yeah,
that's not a bad thing.
I would only have a problem with it if he was coming to like I want an 18-year-old, and because that, to me, people that's 18 to 25, that age range, they're very easy to manipulate. If you ever spoke to anybody in that age range, their minds are not even fully developed yet. They're still in kid mode, if you ask me. So anything that you tell them, they'll believe it.
Right.
Especially when you don't have good intentions. And that's a lot of things going on with that. Where they look for someone who's younger, naive, and more willing to believe the nonsense. They haven't quite caught on to the fact it's nonsense. That's when it becomes like a predatory situation. Exactly. Where you're just trying to use someone and they're too young to understand what the real game is. And that damages people. That damages them going forward in relationships. And unfortunately, it's starting to happen now where women are doing that to boys. It was an age-old issue where guys are doing that to girls, but now it's kind of the script has been flipped, and it's now more women doing that to guys, and that's not good.
I think it's kind of even now, because I am seeing a lot of Black women doing it. White women have been doing it, but now Black women are starting to do it more.
Right, and that's going to cause too many problems, especially when you're, like I said, your intentions are not sincere. You're damaging those people. They're not going to be able to have normal, healthy, functioning relationships going forward because you want to get off on your ego and play games. And that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I think anything older than 7 years is too old, in my opinion. Because like you said,
after you're 30, you can go past 7 years, 7 to 10. But when you're like in your teens and 20s, that kind of age difference is too large. That life experience is too large, and it won't work. It's not going to work long term.
Well, guys, I'm running into it's getting on to the 4th hour here. We've been on here 3.5 hours, but I do want to thank everybody that came up here. Deity, Ray, Chef Disaster, SKC, Miss J, Cynthia. If I missed anybody, I just want to thank everybody for taking the time out of their day to have this conversation with me and everyone else here. It has been very enlightening. I've learned a lot here. But now I want to go into a closing segment. If anybody has any closing statements, if they want to summarize anything that they had on their mind that they took away from the conversation today. Who would like to go first? What is your takeaway from the conversation today?
All right, I guess I'll go first. What I took away from the conversation is that to learn something, I had to be willing to listen to things I normally wouldn't listen to. And for that, I became a more intellectual person. And I also learned that the best kept secret are in these conversations, and they needed to be had. And I appreciate being a part of it.
Okay. Well, we appreciate having you on as well, Chef Disaster. Ms. J, would you have any closing statements? What was your takeaway from the conversation today?
Well, I think one thing that we really have to work on in our community is something that we know deep down inside. We have to work on the respect we have for each other, and also just how we treat each other. That would definitely change our overall relationships, and it has to start with us individually. Now, as a culture, we're messed up. We all know that for a variety of reasons. But the way that we're going to go ahead and change both our romantic relationships, our business relationships, our relationships with Black people as a whole, is we have to start respecting each other, being honest with each other, but also being respectful with each other. And until we do that, it's going to be a lot of mistrust. It's going to be a lot of misunderstanding and just a lot of dysfunction.
Okay. Cynthia, is your mic connected? Okay, I think it's connected. Cynthia, are you there? I don't hear anything. Cynthia, I can see you. Hey.
Are you muted?
Oh, wait a minute. Her mic's muted. Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. Her mic isn't connected. That's what it's saying. Your mic's not connected, Cynthia. But I'm just going to go ahead and give my closing statements. Here's my takeaway from this whole conversation from beginning to end. There were some great people on the stream with me. I learned a lot from everybody. I learned especially that, we as Black people, we are especially hard on each other, Black men and Black women. I think that we have a lot of work to do as far as not being as critical of each other, because we all are in the same bag. That's my takeaway. Black men, we all grew up in households where a lot of us have single mothers. We're not grown up with a culture, so to speak. I mean, we do have a culture, but it's not much of a culture like people from other countries. So our roles are not as defined. We have this white supremacist system that has done nothing but try to divide and conquer us as a group. And so far it has been succeeding, because it has gotten into a lot of our psyches, where you got a lot of people that don't even like the color of their own skin and running to other races of people trying to escape who they are. So my takeaway from this whole thing, and this is the thought that I want to leave everybody with. I want to leave everybody with the thought that there is nothing in this world better than our melanated people. Nothing in this world. Everything that we have, quiet as kept, other groups want it. The origin of where we come from is such a country. Africa is a country that is very rich in resources. Everyone from around the world wants a piece of Africa. Even our melanated skin, they want a piece of, because in our melanation, scientists have discovered the fountain of youth. But we're sitting here, we're wanting to dilute that with other groups of people. And, love who you love. But to me, that is a form of self-hatred in and of itself. So I would like for us to, kind of reflect on, hey, we're all in the same boat together. We all have something that we need to work on. Black men need to work on masculinity, building themselves up, bettering themselves. Black women, we need to work on our femininity, building ourselves up, bettering ourselves. So at the end of the day, we both have work to do. We can't continue to keep pointing the finger at each other. We need to both take the mirror and point it at ourselves. And we do need to work on one another, and we also need to work on loving one another better. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you to everybody. All of the people in the chat, my mods, thank you and good job. I just want to say I appreciate everyone. And thank you again for joining and watching. Everyone, you have a wonderful Sunday.